Hey guys, welcome to Box Office Addict, my weekly live stream podcast where I break down the weekend numbers, give my opinion on it, answer some questions in the chat about movies or random stuff actually. If this is your first time to listen to Box Office Addict, there's not really a structured format here. We basically go back and forth between live questions, sort of like a radio show with call-ins, except without hearing people's voices. But I read the chat. Or it's very analytical, where I look at the numbers and the marketing costs, the production budget, expectations versus reality. But overall, it's just a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed. If this is your first time, and if you're a regular, welcome back to Box Office Addict. And if you're listening to this, you're probably a box office addict yourself. You don't know why you're obsessed with these numbers. Why do you care so much about how a movie does? I mean, you don't get any of that money. Well, it shows you where the industry's going. It's good to know the business side as much as the artistic. And don't let anyone ever lie to you about that. Oh, it doesn't matter. The art just matters. Your opinion just matters. No, what makes money matters. What does well matters, because that's what's going to keep getting made. And even though you love something, if it ain't making money, they're not going to make it anymore. So that whole ridiculous argument that's always pushed on people all the time, well, you shouldn't care how movies do, you shouldn't care what people think, you shouldn't care if the studio's happy with its performance. Yeah, you should. The filmmakers care about that stuff. The people who put the money up care about that stuff. The audience doesn't have to care in the same way, but as a film lover and as someone who tries to follow where things are going, you should definitely care about those things. Never understood that point of view, but a lot of people have that sentiment they throw around a lot that, oh, who cares if a movie does well? And I was like, well, I do. I care what makes money and doesn't make money, because it's a business. That's part of it, but whatever. That's a different discussion for another time. Hello, Bathory. Welcome, my good moderator. As always, Bathory, my queen, my waifu, my bestie. She is here to mod you guys and make sure you don't get out of control. And, that's the fun times. The original was bigger. Oh, yeah, Tomb Raider. Yeah, we're talking about Tomb Raider, which is the film of the week. That's the box office addict pick of the week. Basically, because I don't want to just pick this Black Panther for like 6 weeks in a row. It's time. You got to change things up a little bit. Hey, sup, Noel. All right, I'm glad you're going to eat dinner, my friend. All right, great job defending Iron Man, Pat. Thank you. I hope you guys liked that video. I'm sorry I only did one video this week. I know I was supposed to do the podcast again. Me and Blood Money, man, I don't know what's with that. I have no idea why we can't get that podcast done. We even have time when we can do it. We're having conversations and we don't end up recording it. I do want the podcast done. I will get it out there. I'm tired of talking about it and not having it uploaded, and I'm really excited about uploading it and being good. My Black Panther review, I know it's taking forever. I know it's frustrating to a lot of you guys that I'm not uploading on a more regular basis, but I try to give you guys at least 1 or 2 videos a week, if I can. And the Iron Man video, that's what I had. But, I would like to do more underrated classics. I'd like to do more my favorite films. I'd like to just review more movies in general. I'd love to do a Tomb Raider review. I haven't got a lot of time, but I still try to do those videos with you guys. Fate doesn't want you to do it, Pat. It does feel that way sometimes. That it's tough, because we have this great podcast. I mean, I'm telling you, when we record, it's fire. The chemistry, the stuff we say. I'm at my best in those conversations when I'm playing off someone like that. So, you guys, I feel bad because you guys are missing out on some awesome stuff that I want to share with you. And just the Black Panther review, I really, God, I've had in my head for so long, and a lot of other stuff. We need more tired James Van Der Beek action, Pat. That's true. It's very true. But, the Iron Man video, it's got about 6,000 hits. And it's doing pretty well, like my White Knight Abrams video did, and before that. So when I do upload, the videos have been doing well. And people have been responding. I mean, I've been getting over 200 likes, 300 likes. I mean, the Iron Man video has 335 likes on almost every main video I upload, every main Please Rewind video. And Box Office Addict's been doing well. The numbers have been very consistent, so I'm overwhelmed, and I've been uploading less. The last 2 months when my channel's grown significantly from the Star Wars videos and these other videos, I've been uploading less. I used to upload 3 or 4 videos a week, now I'm uploading 1, maybe 2 a week. You'll get 2 if you're lucky, but it's mainly 1 and then Box Office Addict. So I'm continuing to apologize. I've been in a funk. I'm not in a groove. It's a winter here. It sucks. The winter blues is a thing. You don't mind winter so much in November and December, and even January. But once you go through all of January and then all through February and then March comes along and you still have weeks of winter to deal with. I mean, it's still snow is outside, it's still cold outside. It just starts to get on your nerves, quite frankly. This last stretch before spring kicks in is really aggravating because you just want to be done with it. You want to go outside more. You want to get sunlight more. You don't want to be freezing all the time. You don't want to have to sleep every night covered in blankets with the heater on, because it's just been a few months now and it's just getting aggravating. And I think that's affected my channel because it just gets aggravating after a point. It just gets to a point where it's like, oh my god, you just feel like you're not even living. You feel like you're trapped or something. It's very claustrophobic. And I think that's been catching up to me. And I just feel bad because I have underrated classics. I have favorite films. I have reviews I need to do. And then I go record. I go to do something. And I just can't get it I can't get it done. I try to record. I mean, I had a hard time doing the Iron Man video. I had a hard time doing the J.J. Abrams video. I'm just having a hard time right now. The last February and March have been very hard for me to make videos. I used to just be easy. I used to just hit record and talk. I can't. I get self-conscious. I can't talk as well as I used to. I'm having a hard time figuring out the videos and what they're like. I'm being very insecure about what people think about them. I'm very insecure about making them. I'm kind of lacking the confidence I used to have when I made the videos. And I just need to get that back. It comes in waves, people. You have ups and downs. I'm just kind of in a lull right now. Not like Max Mofo, where he hasn't made a video in a year and a half. Or like iDubbbz. iDubbbz is clearly in a lull. All he does is upload videos of him catching squirrels. He used to make regular content. You just get in lulls. I'm just not big enough to afford getting in lulls. I have to capitalize on things when they happen. But like I said, things comes wave. I'm expecting it to be a big summer. I plan on doing a lot more videos this summer. I plan on doing a lot more live streams, a lot more podcast stuff. So that's what a lot of it is. I just plan on doing more as the summer comes in. It gets warmer. I feel better. Get more energy back. YouTube's starting to feel more like work than it ever did, because it's a hobby. And now when I do stuff, I have this stress and it feels like a job, and I really don't like that. I could feel in your videos. Yeah, it's definitely, I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to act like I'm not going to act like I'm on some high right now. I'm not. I'm kind of I'm in a down place. No, I'm not saying necessarily in my life I'm down, but when it comes to making videos and making them, I really lost my muse. I've lost a lot of my inspiration. It's not as easy for me to just make videos now. I'm losing interest in a lot of topics. I'm losing interest in I think I'm just getting burnt out. I think I worked really hard there for a while to get where I was at and to get those. And I worked on those Star Wars videos, and I worked on all these things, and I just think it caught up with me. Because I have a day job, and I do other stuff. I have a day job in life, then I do YouTube. If I was just doing YouTube, that would be different, because then I'd have the time to. But it's getting tough doing this stuff in a few hours. I only have a few hours every so often to work on a video, and it's just becoming very tough. And I'm not gonna put a mask on for you guys and pretend that everything's perfect. I'm having a hard time with videos. I'm having a hard time doing Box Office Addict. It's definitely becoming like a burden. It's stressful. And I don't know. There's a melancholy to it. I don't have this. I just don't have this great. Anyway, about Patrick Williams' video. I did not watch it, but I'm sure I will watch it. About film criticism, although I doubt he says anything that is that amazing or something I haven't heard before or anything like that. I don't really care what many YouTubers have to say about film criticism. What's your day job? I own a business. Well, I co-own a business, but I run a business with employees, so I have to do a lot of work. It's not necessarily that I have to do a lot of physical work. I'm not doing a lot of the work, hands-on work, but I'm getting called all day. I'm having to go and check on things, and that's just what a lot of it is. I'm just busy. I mean, I have 3 employees at that place, and it's just they work a lot of hours. It's a long thing. It's a kind of. Sometimes they work 8-10 hours, and it's just long. Every day they work 5-6 days a week too. So they just get stressed out. I get stressed out. I have to go in and check on things. I have to make sure inventory's good. I have to, paying taxes is really tough. when you own a business. It's not like you just file your taxes and then you get an income tax. I don't get income tax, and I have to pay a lot of sales tax, so that's a lot of stress, and it all just adds up after a while, and it just yeah. Um, you got right on the money on Patrick. I'm sure he says nothing that's interesting at all. I'm sure it's just very basic by the number stuff. That's what most of those big YouTube critics video essay channels are. It's just normie stuff, which is fine. They do a good job with editing and presentation. Like a good example would be Nerd Writer or Nerd Soup or something, or Just Right. I like how they put their videos together. Well edited, well put together, but everything they say, if you don't know that by the time you're 15, 16, who cares? I mean, it's very simple stuff. It's like, hey, this is how, and it's very by the numbers, basic. Every frame of painting's a great example. Really well edited, well made channel. But then every frame of painting, it would be, what was it? Something like they just teach you basic blocking or editing, cutting, things that you learned first year of film school, and you should already know before that, DVD commentary stuff. Once again, very well presented, but nothing that's stimulating to me. It's not something I didn't already know, and so that kind of goes in with it too. So it's tough for me to talk about a lot of the basics anymore. I'm kind of burnt out on the basics for a lot of it. I would like to get more dense with content, more longer form content, new things that people haven't said. Patrick's videos, yeah, no, once again, well edited, well put together. It's just the content of them. I don't find any movie channel on YouTube stimulating for the most part, excluding Red Letter Media. I don't think anyone talks about films in an eloquent, insightful way. They sort of do, but they're mainly just funny. All of those main essay channels, none of them, except Rob Ager. I do like him a lot. I think he's amazing, and he does his research and does a very good job. Almost everyone else. There is one I've been watching, Nitpicks, and they did a video on 13 Reasons Why and some other stuff. I really like their content, and I could definitely see myself getting into that stuff. But that's about it. It's very tough for me, but it's just because I'm a film buff. Most people who watch that don't know a lot about movies, so it's kind of new information to them, and I get that. For me, that's stuff I've known for 15 years. So, yeah, for some reason my computer's getting real hot. I don't know why. I hope it cools down. Yeah, it's getting really warm. Not really sure why. Take a rest, man. We're all here for fun. It's when people start doing this stuff as a job when you turn into Ben Shapiro and promote your favorite product, Blue Apron. You should take a break, man. I mean, I could take a break. Yeah, I like Nitpicks. I think Nitpicks is a good channel. Cheeseburger, go have one or a vanilla milkshake. It's nice you can be honest. We support you no matter what content you put out. Everyone has lows. Yeah, Nitpicks is a good channel, and he actually makes some good points. And I like his channel, and I like that he's not afraid to say stuff. I like that he doesn't play that safe, I don't know, almost generic skin to things. He actually makes some nice little cuts. He actually says stuff that you need to say, that show he has an opinion. That's all it is. But I guess we need to get to the show. I just want to let you guys know I'm not making content out of some kind of laziness or because I don't care or because things. It's just that I'm really, I'm just really down in general with the channel where things are going. And it's tough for me to talk about movies the way I did. I've just lost a lot of the passion I had the last few months, and it's nothing to do with film or anything like that. I think it's just making videos isn't as exciting as it once was for me at one point. But I think I'll get back. Obviously, like I said, these things happen in waves. But I appreciate you guys watching and sticking with me, and being fans and caring about the content and caring about my life and where we're at. And I also appreciate that super chat. So let's get to Box Office Addict. And I want you guys to know, subscribers, new watchers, people who hate me, a lot of people who don't like my stuff. Just let you know, like, hey man, it's life. And I'm just, LIVIN, I'm just keeping on living, all right. Gotta do it. Gotta keep LIVIN, man. Gotta keep living. Love them redheads, man. Gotta keep going. Gotta keep making stuff. Gotta keep doing it. Gotta keep that grind going. Gotta keep it going on. Man, my computer is getting hot. I'm really scared about this when it gets heated like this. It's really bad during a live stream. Thank you, Child of the Flower. All right, let's get to Box Office Addict, shall we? Shall we get to the show? I think we should. Coco, which is at 757 million. I checked this earlier. Now, for a $200 million film, that domestic total, not great when you include marketing, but worldwide, this film did terrific. Very successful, won 2 Oscars, so nothing to complain about there. And with Disney, any success like that is just cherry on top of a cake of success. 3 Billboards and Shape of Water we're going to talk about, the two that benefited the most from the Oscars, I believe. This was at 142 million. It's right under 150 million. This will pass 150 million worldwide. This is a $12 million film. That doesn't include marketing and distribution and all that, but still, 150 million worldwide will be more than that on a $12 million budget, $53 million domestically. This is a very successful movie for Martin McDonagh. It is his most successful film. It won 2 Oscars. I think it deserved Best Picture and Best Screenplay, but that's, I've complained about that in other videos. But yeah, overall, this did really well. This did better than I thought it was going to do. I thought if it just broke 100 million, that would be a success. So the fact it's done this well is great. And to Shape of Water's credit, it's done even better. I don't see Lady Bird in here right now. There it is. Let's see where Lady Bird's at worldwide. I don't know where that's at. 68 million. So Lady Bird did really well. That cost 10 million. And then now puts it ahead of Moonlight as A24's most successful film, I believe. But if you go up and look at Shape of Water, which last week was at 148 million last weekend and 61 mil domestic, is now at 173 million. So we can just say now that Shape of Water is kind of a hit. I said in many ways it was Del Toro's most successful movie because you have to include him winning the Oscar, the critical acclaim, and this. Like, Pan's Labyrinth is better reviewed and did well as too, but it didn't do this well, and it cost about the same, and it didn't win the Oscar. It won 3 Oscars, but it didn't win Best Picture. And beyond that, Pacific Rim, it did okay, but it didn't do great domestically. The Hellboy movies didn't really make big profits, especially the first one. Blade 2 did well. But I'd say, yeah, the fact this was at 148 million last weekend, it's at 173 million, that's a huge jump. So we're looking at $62 million domestic for a $20 million film. That doesn't include marketing and all that. But 110 million foreign, which is great. And this could break 200 million worldwide. It's not out of the realm of possibility at all if this is going. So overall, very successful movie. I would say personally this is Del Toro's most successful. Not artistically, it's not my favorite, but financially and all things considered, if you look at his other films, sure, some may have made more money domestically, but they didn't make as much money when you count in the budget and worldwide. Look at worldwide. It's the second biggest film worldwide, only behind Pacific Rim. And this is his cheapest film with Devil's Backbone, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy. That was a $65 million movie. Hellboy 2 was an $85 million movie. Blade 2 was what did Blade 2 cost? I think $55 million, $54 million. All these films cost more. Shape of Water was a pretty modestly budgeted film. And it's paying off way more. So for Del Toro, I'd say he needs to go down the route of fairy tale a little bit more often. Leave horror behind. That didn't work out. Crimson Peak bombed. Leave the comic booky action stuff behind. Doesn't really work for you, the fanboy stuff. But Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water, both very successful movies, both fairy tales. Devil's Backbone, very successful movie. So I think if he stays in that area, it seems to be at the international box office, he has enough of a fan base, and this kind of film appeals to an audience internationally that together makes for a very successful return. So overall, Shape of Water doing very good. Very impressive performance. Just wanted to point that out. I'm very impressed by that. Well produced, well handled job by Fox Searchlight there. The Greatest Showman, which was at $388 million last weekend, is at $169 million domestically. It will pass 170, which I believe then will make it the highest grossing musical of all time domestically, not adjusted for ticket price inflation. Because I believe that belonged to Chicago, which made $170 million. The highly overrated, terrible, has aged horribly Chicago, Rob Marshall, Chicago. This movie is a crazy story. The multiplier's insane. $8.8 million opening weekend, 170 million domestic. Should wrap up 173, 175, $84 million budget. About to go on Broadway soon. The guys who wrote the La La Land music, 400 million worldwide, right under there. No doubt this made a profit. No doubt this will continue to make a profit in years to come. And that domestic total is incredible. And when you look at Hugh Jackman with that and Logan last year, because these are both 2017 films, he had an incredible year at the box office. Just right there. If you look at those two together, he had a great year. And this movie, while it had a bad opening weekend, that push over the great word of mouth and all that really connected with audiences, female audiences especially. Good for him. Good for Hugh Jackman. I'm a big Hugh Jackman fan. Good for him. Good for the studio. Good for Fox right before that Disney deal. And everything about this really is was just a success. I mean, even if critics were mixed on it and didn't win any Oscars, you still have to look at this overall as it's made more than La La Land. And that really says something, because La La Land did have the reviews and the Oscars, and this ended up making more money. It cost more. La La Land was actually had a pretty modest budget of $30 million, but I'm assuming that's because Ryan and Emma took pay cuts, and they probably had a bit of back end on that movie. Don't get me wrong. I think Ryan and Emma Stone made a lot of money on that movie, because apparently the profits to La La Land weren't that high. I remember Deadline did an article on it, and they only made about $70 million off that movie. Now that was a $30 million film. They made $150 million domestically, and $450 million worldwide or something, and they only made about $70 million off. That shows you one thing: they didn't have faith in it making money. That also makes me think that Ryan and her got a huge pay, once the movie made money. I think both of them, I wouldn't be shocked if they both got millions off of that movie, because there's no way that they were able to afford the budget of that film and pay both of them at the same time and only make it for $30 million. So there was something with the contracts. I also believe it was something with I believe whoever released that film, they didn't keep the foreign international rights or the distribution rights or something like that. So they didn't make a lot of money off the international box office, which was a huge mistake, because La La Land was a major moneymaker. Jumanji, because I'm just going to skip that 7 Days movie because it only made $1 million. Jumanji, $400 million domestic. It did make it there. Incredible performance. One of the most impressive performances of the decade. The best performance I've ever seen from Sony. I do not count Skyfall or even This is amazing that they made a sequel to Jumanji, 20 years later, and it made this kind of money. As we've told the story many times. $36 million opening weekend, $52 million 4 or 5 day, 55. Great holds, $50 million in its second weekend. 37, 28, 19, 16, 10, 10, 7, 5, 4, 2, 1. So this movie's made $400 million domestically, which is absolutely crazy. I said it was going to pass this. It has. It's going to make a little bit more than that. I don't know if it'll reach 410, but still, to make $400 million on a $90 million budget, and even if we do include marketing and distribution, who cares? This made so much money, they're just swimming in it. And $939 million worldwide, right under $1 billion. This is the most successful film of Jack Black's career, Kevin Hart's career, and only outside of the Fast and Furious franchise, this is The Rock's most successful film. So for three guys that popular, even including their animated work, like Secret Life of Pets or Kung Fu Panda, this made more money. And it cost less. This is a cheaper film than most of the other films that made that money. So if we're just talking profits, this has to be one of the most profitable films of 2017. There's just no question. We'll be finding out on what the profits are soon. Annihilation from Alex Garland, $29 million. And I do want to do a review of this movie too. I think it'll be a great video. $40 million budget, which is quite a decent budget for him, honestly, considering Ex Machina, I think, cost $15 million. That big deal with Paramount. I believe this is on Netflix now. It wasn't in the U.S. at first, but $29 million domestic, should wrap up somewhere around 30-something million. This film got pretty good reviews, mixed response from audiences. Seems to be a lot of debate about the movie. Death Wish from Eli Roth, $3.3 million, 48%. $29.9 million domestic, $30 million budget. It should pass that budget, but with marketing, all that. I doubt this is going to make much of a profit. We're going to have to wait for the foreign box office to see how this one plays out, because as of right now, this isn't that great of a performance. It doesn't make a very good argument for them to make the movie. Even with the backlash, I don't ever think it was that good idea to make a Death Wish remake. I don't think people had interest in it. Red Sparrow, the Black Widow movie that never was. 4.4 million from Francis Lawrence, the director of Constantine and the Hunger Games films, the second, third, and the final two. Well, yeah, 4, 2, 3, 4. Red Sparrow, though, 4.4 million, 39.5 million. This is another Jennifer Lawrence disappointment in a series of disappointments, in particular domestically. $69 million budget. I believe they paid her $15 million for this film, although it wasn't worth it. 106 million worldwide. Can I just say Jennifer Lawrence's star has fallen? Passengers, how much of that was Chris Pratt, really? 100 million domestic, $110 million budget, and this was a film with terrible reviews, 303 million worldwide. Now, no doubt that film made a profit. But then X-Men Apocalypse is disappointing numbers. Mother was a bomb. Joy was a bomb. Joy did not make money. Joy made 56 million domestic, but it cost 60 million. It made 101 million worldwide. But when you include marketing and all that, there's no way they made profit off that movie. And the last Hunger Games outperformed. So, is this just weird film? Because a lot of people said Red Sparrow was going to be that bounce back. And sure, Passengers didn't do as well as we thought. Okay, Mother was a bomb. Sure, the third, the X-Men film didn't do as well, and it didn't, we knew it wasn't going to do as well, but everyone kept saying Red Sparrow was going to be that bounce back for her career, and she got paid huge for it, and it wasn't. It's made $106 million worldwide on a $70 million budget. There's no way they've made any profit off this film as of right now. And unless the international numbers really jump higher, they're not going to make much profit off of this. And it's not holding well, so it's not getting a big response from audiences. People are not loving this movie. So overall, I'd say this was a bad move by Fox, and over-reliance on Jennifer Lawrence and the premise. I think they were thinking this was going to do something like Lucy numbers, like, 35, 40 million opening weekend, but that's not how it worked out. Strangers, Prey at Night, 4.8 million. $18 million domestic, $10 million opening weekend. I don't know what the budget of this was. I'm sure it was a few million. A sequel to the original Strangers, which actually did very well. This is not doing as well, and it's years later. Whatever. Who cares? Peter Rabbit from Sony, starring James Corden. The Man I Hate, the man I made the video on, which actually done very well for me, that James Corden video. I've been on a radio show because of that video. It gets comments ever so often. Nice little video back in the old days. The old country. $50 million budget, $102 million domestic, which does look nice on paper. 145 million worldwide. Probably haven't made too much profit off this. This is from Real Gluck, who did Easy A, Fired Up, Friends with Benefits, Annie. He's a pretty successful director at the box office. Annie did not make as much money as they thought it would. It cost a lot of money, but it wasn't a bomb. Peter Rabbit, it's doing okay. Friends with Benefits actually did really well. It cost $35 million. It made $149 million. It kind of felt like Justin Timberlake was becoming a movie star. And Mila Kunis, to her credit, had a couple years there where she was really blowing up, and it didn't really last. Out of the 70s show actors, she really blew up there for a few years. But what do you say? Peter Rabbit's doing okay numbers for a family film. It's not done yet. It still has millions to make. It's at 5.2. It's not done. Its total isn't done. It could reach 120 if it holds. But I'm sure they were hoping for better than that. I'm sure they have a lot of money in this movie. And yeah, it just looks terrible. It really does. It just looks and sounds terrible. Game Night from Warner Brothers. 5.5 million, $54 million domestic on a $37 million budget. Not bad. This is from the kid who was on Freaks and Geeks, and he wrote Spider-Man Homecoming and the Vacation remake, or I guess sequel reboot with older Rusty and Ed Helms. $17 million opening weekend, $84 million worldwide. This really needs to break $100 million to be a success, in my opinion. I think 60-something mil domestic and like 90-something mil worldwide wouldn't really cut it. I think this needs to make 110, 120. Because you have to include marketing. You have to figure how much are they going to get from the ticket sales. How much are they actually getting percentage-wise. And I'm assuming not that much from all the markets. So I doubt they've made too much of a profit. But it's not a bomb. It's another Jason Bateman film that's done modest box office. Jason Bateman, Office Christmas Party, same thing, $54 million. $45 million budget, $114 million. The Zootopia, which was a huge hit, but The Gift he was in, Horrible Bosses 2, 54 million. Jason Bateman has a semi, decent fan base. It's not huge, but he is a name. Back when, like, Identity Thief came out, him and Melissa McCarthy. But I'd say he hasn't got any high concept movies for a while, and that's kind of, I guess Game Night's a high concept, but that was never going to be $100 million film. I don't think the marketing ever really did a good enough job to do that, and they didn't have a big enough actor in there, in my opinion. Bunch of actors I love: Rachel McAdams, Michael C. Hall, Kyle Chandler, the wonderful Kyle Chandler. But I think that was a lot of the. And I know in Deadpool 2, the director Tim Miller wanted Kyle Chandler to play Cable, and him and Ryan Reynolds disagreed on that. That's really interesting. Love, Simon. This film did way better than I thought it would do. This film was very critically acclaimed. It's kind of a John Hughes-esque coming-of-age film, but with a gay lead character. And I just want to talk about this weekend how everything overperformed. Everything did. Greg Berlanti, who's the director of this, did Life as We Know It, which, if you go look at that, did surprisingly well. $53 million domestic, $105 million worldwide. That's when Katherine Heigl was kind of a star there for a little while before she became a nobody. And The Broken Hearts Club. Now, I would have thought this movie, which had very little hype, very little advertising, would have just been a bomb. But with the $17 million budget and $11.5 million opening weekend, that's really not bad. Even with 2,400 theaters, this film has 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got the girl who played Hannah Baker in 13 Reasons Why, who's a good actress but terrifying, and it's funny, she's an actress I love, hate the character. She does a good job of playing the psycho, and it's scary, but they want you to like her character and sympathize with her. But if she was just playing a villain on that show, it would be a good performance. I don't hate the actress, just hate Hannah Baker in that show. Basically, that video Nitpicks made is the video I would have made on 13 Reasons Why. But anyway, this film's done very well. And I would have never thought it would open this well. I just found out about this film 2 or 3 weeks ago. So for Fox, this is really successful. I mean, this is way above than what I would have thought. I mean, really, that isn't a bad opening weekend, and you have to assume the word of mouth could be really good. So, good job for the director, everyone involved, the cast. And this is kind of the story of the weekend, that everything did kind of better than what I thought it was going to do. There's kind of this nice performance from everything. And that's the first one, including A Wrinkle in Time. I would have thought Wrinkle in Time would have a steeper drop. I was expecting 60% plus, if not 70%. Really, a 50% drop and a 16.5 million second weekends is not bad. That's really not bad. Considering the opening weekend was pretty abysmal at $33 million. Now, this is a $103 million film. I'm sure they have $50-60 million in marketing. So let's say in total they have $150 million in this film. Now, $71 million worldwide is not where you want to be with $150 million in cost. But that opening weekend, which was disappointing, I'm sure they were expecting something 50 to 65 million. 33 million, really the second weekend 16 million, but at 61 million, this film is going to break $100 million. I mean, it's a lock now to make $100 million. So when you look at the budget, they can say, hey, it made $100 million even with the bad reviews, even with the mediocre opening weekend. And if that foreign number, which I'm assuming that's based off more not being released in all markets yet, can jump up, there's really no way this can make a profit. Even if it makes $200 million worldwide, there's not really much chance they're going to make a profit. But it can take away the sting of the hit. And because it's Disney, they can afford this not to make a lot of money. But really, I would have thought this would have a much bigger drop. I didn't think the word of mouth would be this good. That's really... A 50% drop may seem bad, but really it's not for a film that had a $33 million opening weekend. And a film that, isn't being that loved. I mean, it's getting pretty negative... reaction. So, audiences are responding to this. Ava DuVernay's film. This is her first film to get really bad reviews. This is her first film, I would say, is just kind of a failure. And really, I think she was over her head. I think she stepped into the big time. It wasn't ready, but now they're giving her even more big projects. She's been signed to a bunch of other stuff now, another big $100 million movie. So I guess Disney doesn't give a damn. I guess they don't care that this film's getting pretty bad reviews and not doing that well. She signed up for even more big stuff. So they must see something in her. I don't know what it is, because it doesn't seem to be showing up at the box office or people knowing her name. But I guess that there's something about her that's very enticing to the studios. But to the credit of everyone involved, that's not a bad second week drop. It's pretty typical for big movies. And once again, I thought the film was just going to be dead by this point. So that and Love, Simon both impressed me. And those are really nice numbers. Great opening for that movie and a nice second weekend. Yeah, we were early last week. Yeah, this is a late show. I actually last week was way earlier than usual. Um, I don't love Arrival or and the ending of Prisoners, but you can't deny the filmmaking, the actual direction, the way he frames things, the way he creates tone. He's kind of a master visualist, and tone and all that stuff. He's a pretty incredible filmmaker in general. He's a credible director. I think he's only held back by when his scripts don't totally work, but that has nothing to do with him as a director. He's a wonderful, wonderful filmmaker. Enemy is a surprising. Enemy's great. I think Enemy's like right there at the top of his best films. Really. I mean, he's absolutely terrific. I love Denis Villeneuve. All right, so yeah, those both did way better than I thought they were going to do. Now, here's another one that did well, but my I Can Only Imagine, which is so funny because it's that Christian song. I can only imagine when that day comes. I don't know why I'm doing it like country. That's like a... Yeah, do you remember that song, the bald guy singing it back in the video with all the photos? When I used to go to church as a kid, when I went to youth group on Wednesdays, God, they played that song all the time. And they would show that video all the time, and then they would come out with the photos. Will you stand with me, Jesus? I can only imagine. That song kicks ass, though. I'm not gonna crap on that. So for a Christian ballad from the '90s, it could be worse. God, I've heard that song my whole life. Jesus, that song has never escaped me. I guess it was a big hit though. But I remember the freaking. I remember being a kid. That song was everywhere. So it was everywhere. Yeah, the new Gods for Warner Brothers. Yeah, she's just getting these big projects. I don't know why they're putting all this stock in her when it's not really paying off. But I guess she's good in the pitch room. She's good at discussing this stuff. She's good at breaking it down to them, something appealing. I mean, that's part of it, is how you sell yourself. But $7 million budget, distributed by Roadside Attractions, which is a hilarious name. I absolutely love that. Manchester by the Sea. Oh, is this Amazon? Mud, Mr. Holmes, A Most Wanted Man, I Can Only Imagine. This is a pretty damn good opening weekend. I mean, Christian films typically overperform because they're not made a lot, so the audiences out there that do like Christian films go see them. And they do well. God's Not Dead did well. If you go look at a lot of Kirk Cameron films, even do well. Fireproof made $33 million on a $500,000 budget, but I didn't even hear about this movie or read anything about it or know about it. Dennis Quaid, though. Thank for Dennis Quaid, man. This guy is America's, like, sweetheart, can get cast in these... Like, let's look at A Dog's Purpose, right? From Leslie Hallstrom. This one made $200 million worldwide on a $22 million budget. That's that Dennis Quaid factor, man. And then The Words, which didn't do very well. But, don't count Dennis Quaid out. He does capture that middle America thing with people, and especially the religious film. I think it's a nice mix of those things. $17 million opening weekend. This goes with I Love Simon and Wrinkle in Time. I would have not thought this would do so well. It's nice to see the wealth being shared across several films, them all doing within the teens. It was a busy weekend at the box office. People could have just ignored all of these movies, and this was even opened in less theaters than I Love Simon. That was in 2,400. This was in 1,600. So take that, LGBT movie. The Christian films got you beat. But yeah, John Irwin. I think I know that name. I think I know that director. Yeah, that's right. October Baby. That's right. I remember that. Mom Nights Out. Yeah, Mom's Night Out. But $17 million opening weekend. This should perform well overall. I don't think this is front loaded. I think that's just a sign of where this movie's going to do, how it's going to perform in the long term. $70 million budget, not including marketing. They could make a profit off this, and then when you include DVD and television, they should. So yeah, that, Wrinkle in Time, and Love, Simon all impressed me this weekend with their numbers. I would have thought for sure that Wrinkle in Time would have fell lower. I thought Love, Simon would have opened terribly, and I Can Only Imagine really came out of nowhere and opened well. I mean, it almost broke 20 million. I could have seen it opening at 20 million. So right there, 3 impressive performances. So, it's got to be said. Toby is the Scranton Strangler. Yeah, I saw they made a video on that. They just came out and basically revealed it, that Toby's the Scranton Strangler. They're not even hiding it, which is wonderful. I love that so much. Let's see. I love song from First Communion class because it sounded like, oh yeah, you're talking about church, yeah. I can only imagine. Gosh. Blessed be the God, Lord Almighty. Oh, miss being a white kid singing with other white kids about Jesus. Those were the good times. Tomb Raider. Alicia Vikander, who is did she win the Oscar? No, I believe did she win the Oscar for supporting actress? I believe she did for the Danish Girl. She should have won for Ex Machina, where she is amazing and gives a wonderful performance. The Danish Girl is just boring as dirt, and her and Eddie Redmayne are both boring in it. But she deserved the Oscar win for Ex Machina. She is an actress I do like. And her being cast as Tomb Raider, I know at one point they were talking to a few actors. Daisy Ridley was being talked to. They talked to quite a few. Now, Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider film a few years ago did much better than this opening weekend, especially when you adjust it for ticket price inflation. This is not a great opening weekend, but it's not a terrible opening weekend. The trailers for this movie were mocked. They didn't look good. It wasn't a good-looking film. I think it looked terrible. Then the reviews came out and it was pretty mixed. Like, yeah, man, it's okay. $94 million budget. Now, that's not a high budget. They could have spent $150 million on this, but you have to include marketing, which is at least, 30, 40, 50 million. So, it's at $126 million worldwide. It's already made $102 million foreign. That's not bad. And really, for a video game adaptation, this is better reviewed than most of them. Most of them don't get mixed reviews. I think The Prince of Persia did. And when you think about it, really, this isn't a bomb. If it could make 300 million worldwide, and it could with that foreign numbers. Now that opening weekend's not great, and I don't see it holding very well through the weeks. But this could have opened even worse to 10, 15 million, under 20. So the fact it crossed over 20 is not bad, and you see the box office was spread out, so there was a little bit of competition. Let's go back to Tomb Raider from 2001. That film opened to 47 million in 2001. I remember seeing this in the theater. Jesus. Rimmer from Red Dwarf is in this movie. He plays her butler. $115 million budget. Now, to be fair, that was a big budget film, but this one cost $94 million. Granted, 115 was a lot of money. This was directed by Simon West, who directed The General's Daughter, When a Stranger Calls, The Expendables 2, Con Air, The Great Con Air, the best Michael Bay movie Michael Bay never directed. Now, to be fair, Angelina Jolie was a movie star and still is, and she's a much bigger movie star than Vikander. That's not even a question. She just is. She's one of the most successful female stars of all time. She's one of the highest paid stars of all time. She's gotten $20 million for a movie. She's been in many let's just go look at Angelina Jolie's box office, And she doesn't work much, but every time she does, look, she comes out and makes Maleficent. Look at that box office, $241 million. Salt, 118 million. Wanted, 134 million. Her worldwide box office is 5.9 million, right under 6 billion. 6 billion, 5.9 billion. And Maleficent, which was her last really big mainstream film, was 2014. That made 758 million. Mr. and Mrs. Smith was a hit. Wanted was a hit. Salt was a hit. The Tourist Worldwide did good. The Tomb Raider movie actually did well. So Angelina Jolie is definitely a star. She just doesn't work that much. She takes long breaks. I'm assuming, I've heard she has a lot of emotional, mental issues for the last decade or so, and she's been dealing with them. But she looked like Lara Croft. This was great casting. It's unfortunate this movie was kind of just mediocre. I don't think this film's as bad as people make it out to be. It really suffers from some dated CGI, but there's scenes with her in it and Daniel Craig that are really fun. There's this whole shootout sequence with her where she's just like bungee jumping, basically, that I think's really fun. I like the energy of the movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember it not being that bad. It's just kind of like, which is what the new movie sounds like. But really looking at it, $131 million domestic. Let's see how it performed over the weekends. Let's see what the weekend numbers were. 19, 10 million, 6 million. Granted, Tomb Raider was a bigger franchise then. I know people say, what about the new Tomb Raider games? They're big. Yeah, but they weren't big like Tomb Raider was back in the 90s and 2000. It's not even close, really. They're popular games, but Tomb Raider was a big thing. Everybody knew Lara Croft back in the day. So that $47 million opening weekend was huge, really. And it made right under $300 million worldwide. Now, I actually think the sequel's a much better film, directed by the great cinematographer Jan de Bont, who then, was the DP on Die Hard. but went on to become a very mediocre film director. His best movie being Speed or Twister. Where is it? Lara Croft, The Cradle of Life. I actually think this is a very fun movie. I thought this movie was very overlooked. Um, and I still think it's a little underrated. $95 million budget, $65 million domestic, $156 million worldwide. There's no way they made profit off of this movie. Oh yeah, Gerard Butler was in this too. That's funny. This came out in '03. The franchise did not carry over. That's a huge drop from the opening weekend of the previous film. So the Tomb Raider franchise certainly didn't stay strong. But, all things considered, that first movie did pretty well. For a video game movie, the original Tomb Raider wasn't that bad. I agree. I much prefer the sequel, though. I think the sequel was much better. Let me go up a little bit here and see what you guys have to say. I used to really like Red Dwarf. Oh, I love Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf's one of my all-time favorite shows. It's cold outside. And Rimmer in particular was amazing. Rimmer was like my favorite character, for sure. But let's look at that adjusted for ticket price inflation. If we look at it adjusted, Tomb Raider would have made $212 million domestic. That's really pretty good. Like, if this movie made $200 million, the studio would be ecstatic. They would be jumping through hoops if this current Tomb Raider film could make $200 million, especially with that $94 million budget. I mean, this would be a franchise. So this is more based off the new character, the origin story. T.J. Kirk very cleverly attacked her breasts on social media, which he only did to get attention. I hope you guys... So many people think T.J. did that, The Amazing Atheist, for any other reason. That was all a ploy, and it was very smart on his part. He basically just complained about her boobs not being big. Everybody attacked him. They didn't get that he was just doing that he was just doing that to troll. He only did that to get attention. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Then they wrote articles about him. So a guy with 1 million subscribers that's basically irrelevant, can't even bring in 100,000 hits on average, and it's, just a declining channel way past his prime, can just go on social media, put up a picture of this actress and say, hey, her boobs aren't big, and everybody is going to write articles about him, talking about him being sexist. Everyone is going to attack him. Thousands and thousands of tweets about it, all from one tweet from TJ that he really didn't care about. Like, as if he wouldn't turn down this woman, as if he wouldn't want to sleep with this woman. But her boobs are too small for me. Do I have to be the one to say it? It was a clever strategy from his part to keep him relevant for another few weeks until he goes back to not being known again. And people forget him, and he's not, the Amazing Atheist anymore. But good move. I wish I would have thought of it. It's a great way to get attention on social media. Basically, you just say anything like that. Like, it's like when Max Landis said Ray was a Mary Sue. He got more press and was invited to more stuff and was written about more than anything else. Than if he had worked on anything he worked on, any movie, anything he had done. Just saying Ray was a Mary Sue, he became famous. He's famous for that. And TJ could become famous again just for criticizing the breast size of the actress. Even though, to be fair, Angelina Jolie did have nice boobs, but the modern Lara Croft doesn't really have big boobs. It is weird with a lot of these actresses, like Daisy Ridley and Alicia Vikander. They don't have boobs. I don't know what happened to the actresses having boobs. A lot of these new chicks coming out are just kind of flat. Not that I care. It doesn't matter. She's in a movie. It doesn't matter if Lara Croft has big boobs. I actually think an athletic gymnastic woman would typically not have big boobs. Typically, like, the ballerinas or the gymnasts, they have flat chests because a boob will weigh you down. It gets in the way. It's a lot easier to, no, TJ was trolling. He was. If you think he wasn't trolling, you don't understand how TJ works. Like the person below you said, he's actively searches for controversy. He didn't say that because he meant it literally. He said it because he knew it would get backlash. And this is what TJ does. TJ formats every video he's ever made to be exactly the right thing for the algorithm to get as many basic hits. That's why he doesn't go too conservative, and that's why he plays a lot of the liberal stuff, because it's the right balance to get as many hits as possible. And then, it's not cool to be an atheist anymore. It's not cool to crap on Christians. Okay, I gotta go to attacking SJWs. Oh, well, that's kind of dying off. Okay, well, I'm gonna talk about movies now. How do I get people to notice me? I'm gonna attack her boobs. That's what TJ's always done. I disagree that Gal Gadot was perfect for Wonder Woman. I actually think that performance for her is highly overrated. I don't think she can act. I think her line delivery was terrible. I think Chris Pratt carried her throughout Wonder Woman. If Chris Pratt wasn't there, I think she would be really bad in that movie. It's a very mediocre performance where her line delivery is terrible. She could barely speak English. People are like, oh, she's this amazing actress. It's like, no, she's not. She does one facial expression. And yeah, TJ's bandwagon, but that's fine. That's great. Yeah, I have seen Ex Machina more than once. Wonderful movie. Yeah, the boobs are a pandering thing. Yes, hence why there are all these articles about Tomb Raider, want from sexist to progressive icon. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a nice way to attack. I don't think Gal Gadot's this great at Chris Pine. Sorry, not Chris Pratt. Chris Pine. Yes. Guys, stop it. You do know that this is a running gag that the Chris names get mixed up. Even Chris Pine made fun of this on Saturday Night Live, where he said, no, I'm Chris Hemsworth. No, I'm Chris Pratt. No, I'm Chris Evans. It's a bunch of blonde, good-looking guys named the Chris's. You don't all have to write Chris Pine in the chat. I know. I get it. It's fun. It's all right, people. I'm glad she's attractive, Gal Gadot. She's good-looking. She looks good on camera. But yeah, she can't act. I mean, if she did theater or something, oh my god, you people are bandwagon. You're all just like, Pratt? Oh my goodness. The joke just totally went over the Chris joke. It just totally went over everyone's head. We'll save that for another one. I'm sort of sick of origin stories, especially the uninspired and generics. Oh yeah, looks like the most generic, stocky type thing that could possibly be. This is really... Oh, man, yeah, Bill Hader's great. Chris Hemsworth is the best Hemsworth. Who's the best Chris, though? That's the real debate. But yeah, Chris Pine, he carries her in that whole movie. No question. And I definitely don't have any... I have no love for Gal Gadot. I don't think she has a bunch of charisma. I don't think she's great. And I'm not really sure why critics and people are acting like she is. I don't get it. They were comparing her to Christopher Reeve in Superman, and I'm like, what? What the hell are you talking about? Who would be your choice for Wonder Woman? If I could pick from any time ever, Lucy Lawless back in when she played Xena in the 90s. If I could pick anyone ever, like not a modern actress because she's too old now, but back when she played Xena, yeah, I definitely would have picked her. Should George Miller and Robert Rodriguez direct Donkey Kong films? No, they shouldn't. If only they cash-ins would crash and burn. How's A Wrinkle in Time doing? It's doing okay. Do you think any upcoming video game movies will hit some gold? No, I don't. I don't think they're doing that great. Gal is the female Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, she has physical presence. She definitely has charisma on camera. She shows up on camera well. But, yeah, Lucy Lawless, if I had to pick, because she had the height, she is actually a masculine woman. You buy her beating up people. She's still great. I love her in Battlestar Galactica. She showed up on Ash vs. the Evil Dead. She's awesome. I'm just a Lucy Lawless fanboy. She gets hella naked on Spartacus. She's sexual, but in control. I actually think Alicia Vikander's a good choice for Lara Croft. I have nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with the casting, and I don't care about her boobs. Who gives a crap about her boob size? That doesn't matter. I agree. Gal does need stronger arms. That's the thing. I do kind of want. They say it's sexist. Like, oh, you want her to have muscular arms. I'm like, yeah. When she's supposed to be playing a badass, I want it to look like she works out and lifts weights and is a badass. I'm sorry that's part of the thing. Like, I like to see I'm sorry, that's part of it. Like, Lucy Lawless looks like she can kick ass. I mean, that's part of the appeal. You're supposed to kind of buy her as an action star, that she can beat up people, not that she's just some, like, 120 girl. It's like, well, yeah, she can't beat up anyone. Just like a guy who's real scrawny, I wouldn't buy either. It goes either way. No, she is a good actress, I agree. I think she's a very good actress. Looking forward to Isle of Dogs. I am very much looking to that movie because I love Wes Anderson. I'm a Wes Anderson fanboy, and I don't dislike any of his movies. I also love that film. If you say it really fast, it's I Love Dogs. Isle of Dogs. I Love Dogs. I Love Dogs. It's I Love Dogs. It's a nice little thing. A lot of people, I love dogs, but I'm glad that he kind of played with that. It's really funny. And it seems like a big love letter to dogs. I also love dogs, and I love Wes Anderson. And apparently, he's very influenced by, um, God, How Miyazaki films and Kurosawa. And I'm a big Miyazaki fan. Yeah, she was terrific in Ex Machina. She was incredible in that movie, no question. Yeah, she is an Israeli soldier, but everyone's a soldier. If you live in Israel, that doesn't really mean much to me. They make everyone join the army when you're 18. So that's just every woman who's lived in Israel. Every man has done that. So that doesn't really, and it doesn't come across with her acting in movies. It doesn't feel like she's some badass to me. And this isn't a criticism just for women. I feel this way about a lot of males too. I mean, in movies, I'm not just saying that about Gal Gadot. Yeah, I agree. The trailers were terrible. They really hurt this movie. All right, but honestly, also another actress. I think her name's Gina Carano or something. God, she's famous. She was in Sin City. She's the chick with her boobs out in that movie, and she was in Miami Rhapsody, and wonderful actress, very attractive too. In her prime, I probably would see her playing Wonder Woman, and I can't think of her. Damn, I can't believe I can't think of her. She's amazing. Like she's aged really nicely too. She was in the first Night at the Museum. She's been in. She was in the first Night at the Museum. I'm trying to think of everything she was in. I mainly remember Sin City, but she's been in a lot of stuff. And very, very famous, especially in the 90s, early 2000s. But she would have made a good Wonder Woman. I definitely could see her. Pat, Wes Anderson is from Texas like you are. Yes, he is, and so is the Wilson brothers. And I feel a deep connection between them. Very similar to Wes Anderson or to the Wilson brothers. It's kind of like growing up in Texas and getting the Texas attitude. Or Richard Linklater. I know Mike Judge isn't from there, but he definitely gets it. You get the spirit of Texas and the language of it, but your interests are more in you're more of like kind of a New York or California. The things you like, the movies you like, the things you're into really aren't Southern, and you're not a Southern person with the Southern draw. Even though Owen and Luke both have that Southern accent, but their interests, you're more into dark comedy, a certain type of humor, and I can definitely say for me, Carla Gugino. Yes, Carla Gugino. Yes, I would have had her play Wonder Woman a few years ago. Oh, yeah, exactly. The chick from Haywire. Yes. Oh, God. The chick from Haywire. Why wasn't she Wonder Woman? God, Haywire's. Yeah, frick. I forgot about her. And she was even dating Henry Cavill. I totally forgot about her. Yeah, no, she was so. God, she's like one of those chicks that's really muscular and buff, but still has a effeminate shape to her and a great face. And she was great in Haywire. I mean, she doesn't give a great performance, but she gives as good as a performance as Gal Gadot does. And her physics, she's actually, an MMA fighter. She's actually doing the stunts and beating those guys' asses in that movie. It's awesome. I totally, yeah, when you watch Haywire, you're like, man, is this a Wonder Woman audition? It feels like that's what Soderbergh's doing. I really like Haywire, too, just how the camera lingers and lets them fight. She would have been great because, yeah, then you could have actually bought her beating up people. They could have actually shot the fight scenes. She has an Amazonian-like body because that's my problem with a lot of the Amazons is they look like models. They don't have that muscular. Like, Wonder Woman's supposed to be muscular. She's supposed to be tall and have, like, thick legs, thick arms. She's supposed to be kind of buff. That's how she is in the comics a lot of the time and even in the cartoons. And totally, she would have been terrific as Wonder Woman, the chick from Haywire. Especially, yeah, her MMA fighting. Beautiful face. She looks like Wonder Woman. She has the hair. I actually think she looks more like Wonder Woman than Gal Gadot does even. I even think in the face she looks more like her. And she definitely, yeah, you could see her. Yeah, I would love to see her do groundwork, like John Wick stuff. Like her taking people down to the ground as Wonder Woman and punching them. Gina Carano. Yeah, she was the one in Haywire. Yeah, she's great. I was thinking of the other chick because their names are kind of similar. And I would say Linda Carter wasn't a very great Wonder Woman, and it hasn't held up. Go back and watch Wonder Woman from the 70s. It's not very good. Carla Gugino, I think, would have been terrific, 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I really like the idea. I can't believe I totally forgot about the chick from Haywire. Cause yeah, she's buff. Like she's buff, man. Like she could kick my ass. Like she's buff, strong. I mean, she's tough, and you know you could buy her being a badass, and that would sell Wonder Woman. Where I think Wonder Woman should be a physical role where she kicks ass. I would like that. So good call on that, people. And I didn't. Yeah, this is really bad opening weekend if all things are considered. There's no way this is going to reach that $94 million budget. There's no way this is going to make $100 million. I mean, I've been wrong before, Greatest Showman, but I don't see it. This is going to have to rely entirely on international numbers, which is not what you want when you make a movie like this and you're trying to start a franchise. And also, I'm not trying to sexualize women or talk about them. I don't care about breast size I care more about the muscles. Like, if someone's playing Wonder Woman, I think she should look muscular and tough. If somebody's playing Lara Croft, I kind of like the idea of her looking like she can kick butt. But, you know, they're going for that. She shoots arrows. She uses strategy. She's more of a survivalist. That's fine. You know, I haven't seen the movie. Maybe it works. I don't know. That stuff doesn't bother me. That's that clickbait kind of crap. That's basically what TJ was doing, was creating clickbait. But I would definitely... I don't know how you go from Linda Carter to Alexis Bledel. They don't look anything alike. That's very strange. They don't look alike at all. But yeah, Gina Carano, she would be my pick. I don't know if she didn't even get the job as Wonder Woman. Actually, when you think about it. The Haywire was like a perfect audition tape. So anyway, 126 million worldwide. Junkie XL did the music. I love them. Fury Road, and they did that Batman v Superman score with Zimmer. Yeah, this is, once again, though, this isn't terrible. I'm sure they would have liked a 33, 43, $50 million opening weekend, but what are you going to do? It could have been a disaster. This looks like it might make a little bit of a profit, or they at least won't lose money, Warner Brothers, which is a good thing. But this isn't Disney. They're not making that Disney money, and it didn't take the throne over from Wakanda, which, what is this, like 5 weekends now with Black Panther as #1? So, despite it not being a disaster, when you look at how well the original film did back in 2001, when you think about how all the films this weekend did, this really is just kind of meh. It's okay. It's an okay opening, but it's nothing to celebrate. It's nothing to be excited about, and Warner Brothers isn't going to make anything any big profits off this money, and I don't think they have a franchise. I still have no idea why they sunk so much money into this. Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't know why they put $100 million into it. I wouldn't have done that. Yeah, well, Isle of Dogs make money. It could. Fantastic Mr. Fox didn't make money, but Moonrise Kingdom and Grand Budapest Hotel did. So you could argue Wes Anderson has become even more popular in the last few years, which he has. He was kind of a guy that a lot of people... He was a cult guy, and then, you know, cult figure. God damn it. Hold on, I'm getting hiccups. Which is not good when you're recording. Yeah, Haywire is so terrific. The casting of Gal Gadot is the best thing the DCU has said. I disagree. I don't think she's the best casting. I think she was just in the most successful movie. I think the best casting is... Jeremy Irons as Alfred. I actually think Ben Affleck cast as Batman's a better choice than her. I think he's just been in a bad movie and was given a bad script. General Zod, Michael Shannon. What a great choice. Terrible in the movie, though. Terrible script. Michael Shannon, great choice for General Zod. Is Black Widow possible since Red Sparrow failed? I would say no, and I would say they're not going to make a Black Widow movie. But yeah, Wes Anderson, just the last few years, Moonrise, his movies have blown up and become financially successful, and he's become kind of popular. So I think Isle of Dogs will make money. I really do. I always felt Christopher Titus could be Vash Stampede, but yeah, he's super old. Yeah, he's like, what, in his 50s? God, he's been around a long time. I think some video game movies definitely have good lore that someone could make an inspired by said game. I think we think that, but then when you actually see it in practice, it doesn't quite work. There is something that's really disconnected from video games to cinematic transfer. I don't know what it is exactly. Yeah, I think you are the only one that wants a Back to the Future reboot. I don't want that. I definitely don't want a Back to the Future reboot. I think that's a horrible idea. And I know Robert Zemeckis has it set where nobody can do that. I don't see the Black Widow movie happening, especially with Red Sparrow. I mean, it could still happen, and it'll probably make money. I mean, it's Marvel. Marvel movies don't lose money. They don't. I mean, they don't bomb. So who knows? But I'd be much more interested in a Hawkeye movie, honestly. Hawkeye, like a survival film with him in the woods, like $50 million budget, Jeremy Renner in the woods, nothing but his arrows, Rambo, and he has to take out everybody. It's a survival movie. It's a man versus nature. I think it would be great. I think a Hawkeye movie would be awesome. Black Widow would just be a spy movie. I mean, that's what it would be. It would just be a spy movie if they're going to assassinate people. I don't really know if I want to see that. I don't think that character's that great. She's not one of my favorite. I think I like Scarlett Johansson, and I like how she's played off the other characters and the performance and all that. But I don't think it's really that. I don't think a movie would be that interesting unless they did something. Maybe if the Russos did it. Silent Hill could have been a great horror movie, like Jacob's Ladder. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a good pick, Bathory. That's a good pull. I don't think a Hawkeye movie would be terrible. I disagree. I totally disagree. I think like what I just pitched there, $50 million Hawkeye movie with him in the woods, basically, or like in the snow, having to survive, would be an awesome movie. And I don't see how it would be terrible now. You have a great actor. You have a great actor in the lead who hasn't really got to dominate like he should. You make it like let's say James Mangold directed it, the Wolverine guy, and if it was more action oriented. And it was like a survival film. Like I said, not big budget. If it was him in the woods having to survive and all that, I think if ScarJo turns into a bodybuilder, would it be better? I mean, I don't think it would matter. I don't think that factors in. They just use every camera trick they can to make Black Widow seem like a badass. But I think a Hawkeye film would be awesome. I don't agree at all that it's past this point. I think Hawkeye could be a great, like, he has a cabin out in the woods. And maybe his family dies at the beginning, and he's just gone rogue, and he's being hunted, too. Like he's being hunted, and he has no superpowers. He basically just has his arrows, and it becomes like kind of a Rambo movie. I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, Hawkeye directed by James Mangold, survival movie, $50 million budget, $500 million worldwide, guaranteed hit, no question. Think about the trailer to that movie. They wouldn't even have to have dialogue. They could just show Hawkeye like just a quiet, silent sequence with him with this arrow tracking a guy down, and you slowly watch him hunt a guy, and you don't really know what's going on, and then you see a guy get hit by an arrow, and then it's Hawkeye. The marketing, it makes itself. Have you heard Patrice O'Neal's idea for an Aqua? Of course I have. I've heard everything Patrice O'Neal ever said. Big fan of his, and when he was on Opie and Anthony, big fan. Alf movie, that would be funny. Do you like the film The Gift? Yeah, I like The Gift. It's all right. It took a lot from other movies I'd already seen. I asked because it seems you have taste in muscular women, not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't have a taste in muscular women. I just think that if a woman's playing a badass who's supposed to beat people up, I think she should have some muscle on her. Pat, the idea for Hawkeye, this sounds really cliche. Yes, just like every Marvel movie that's ever been made that's also successful. Iron Man sounds cliche. Winter Soldier sounds cliche when you put it down on paper. Ant-Man's cliche. It's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Or any shrinking movie, really, going back to Inner Space. Doctor Strange is cliche. Marvel makes cliche movies. That's why I'm pitching a cliche hit movie for Marvel. If you want original artistic films that challenge you intellectually, don't go see Marvel movies. That's not what Marvel does, and that's never what Marvel has done in any of their films. So my point to that would be that's Marvel. I'm sorry. Yeah, Marvel is cliche. That's why it makes money, is that they play to cliches very wisely. And they have a formula that they don't break. So I think that's exactly the way to go with it. You don't go see Marvel movies to see something original. You just don't. That's not what they do. That's not what Disney does, and that's not what makes money. That's not what makes the big money at the box office. All of the biggest films that have made, I mean, you could even say, oh, Last Jedi wasn't cliche, but in a lot of ways it still is. You know, it might be not cliche for a Star Wars film, but it's still a cliche movie. Cliches exist for a reason, you know. Why? Because they work. Because they make money. Um, it's a pitch that that would make a lot of money, and that's all they really care about, and that's all you should care about, honestly, when you're making Marvel movies. But I mean, I like masculine women. I definitely like dominant women in my real life, but it's not. I'm just saying for movies, like, I would like if Rey was a little bit more buff. I would like if Wonder Woman was a little buff. I don't. It's not for every part. I don't think that, like, I don't think every female character needs to be like a buff actress. But for the right role, yeah, of course. Remember Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2? How buff she was. Remember, like, she's doing the pull-ups and the chin-ups and all that. She looks jacked. I mean, she looks tough. She's got a thick neck. I mean, she looks like she can kick ass. Like, you should. If you're playing a character like that, you should look tough. I don't like this. They can just cast some really thin actress and that you're supposed to buy her as a badass. Just like I wouldn't believe a guy like that. I don't think that really sells. I think part of the illusion is how it looks visually. No, I know people thinking Marvel movies that have any philosophical content to them. I know, no, they're not. I know that was a funny comment. Not to insult the person who said it, but the person who said that sounds like cliche. It's like, are you kidding? Of course it does. Hey, Pat, remember when Red Letter Media jokingly suggested that Zack Snyder's version of Wonder Woman would be a prostitute? That would be amazing. Hey, Pat, answer the dude asking about Gundam. I'm sorry, I don't see the Gundam question. What are your thoughts on Juno? I liked it at the time. Now I can barely watch it. Although I still like how Jason Reitman directed it. I like J.K. Simmons in it. I like the stuff with Jason Bateman a lot. I really just don't like a lot of the dialogue and how you're supposed to celebrate this girl. Juno's not as bad as a movie as some people make it out to be, but it was never as great of a movie as it was considered, and I think time has shown that as it's not discussed anymore. He is just Dr. House. I agree. Doctor Strange just acts like Dr. House. I just do some cardio boxing, light dumbbells, and cardio machines. Well, hey, man, as long as you're doing something. I mean, you're not playing an action star in a movie, so I don't really care if you're buff, man. Good thing for you. You don't have to be. And listen to your bubble get popped. They are all cliches. If the Hawkeye movie goes as you want, people will say it's an Arrow ripoff. Not really, because Arrow's like television, and it's really not that big outside of TV. Look at the ratings. Like 1 million people watch Arrow, at best. Hawkeye's a much more popular, famous character than the Green Arrow television show. Just from the Avengers movies and Civil War and all that. So I disagree. I don't think they would say that. I really don't think that, actually. Yeah, Juno was alright. People talk a lot of crap about it, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's got good stuff in it. It's not just this, like, just terrible movie. It just has some really cringe stuff about it. I picture a version of Wonder Woman who goes around and seduces criminals. That's hilarious. She just uses raw sexuality. How about this, Pat? A Metroid movie. Charlize Theron is who I would cast in that role. Or, I've said this before, Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica. Starbuck is amazing, and she actually did look like a badass, and I'm still a fan. Her name's like Kelly something. She would be a great Samus, in my opinion. But if you want to go with an actress who has more chops, I would probably go with Charlize. I think she's a better actress, but if you're just going for the physical side of it, I would go with Starbuck from Battlestar. I think she would be terrific in that role. And it should honestly be kind of like a silent film, like Gravity. Like, just make Metroid a silent film where she goes to planets with her arm cannon, just blows people away. That's the way I would go about it. I think that's the problem with a lot of video game movies, is they try to have a plot and story, and most video games don't have very good plots and stories. They do for a video game. Linda Hamilton did steroids. Well, a lot of the male actors do steroids to get buff for roles, so why shouldn't the women do steroids? You know, that's part of it. A lot of those guys are on steroids. I promise you, Hugh Jackman's on steroids. He's 50 years old and he's buffer than when he was in his 20s. Confirmed. Pat wants to be pegged by buff chicks. That you got me. That's what it is. You all caught me. I'm trying to see this guy's Gundam question. Where's the Gundam? Where's the Gundam question? I'm sorry. Can somebody ask the Gundam question again? If they make a Mobile Suit Gundam movie, was that the question? I'm not trying to ignore it. I just didn't see it. I don't see it on here. Actually, Emily Blunt, actually bringing up. Emily Blunt's an actress I think plays tough really well. And she was up for Black Widow, and she would have been a better Black Widow. She has the body type. She looks more like a badass. She was great in Edge of Tomorrow, and I think she would be much better in the role. I don't really like 5'2" Scarlett Johansson doing that terrible, impossible flip knee thing she does in every single Avengers Marvel movie that just looks freaking ridiculous. Where Emily Blunt, I remember in Edge of Tomorrow, actually looked like she could kick ass. I just never really bought Scarlett Johansson as a badass. I think she's a very talented actress, and I think she's found the right things to play. Can we talk Gundam? I am loving Gundam. Just saw Gundam Universal Century. Awesome. Do you think the 7-episode season in Gundam UC makes a story tight as opposed to Marvel's 10-12 episode seasons? Yes, I think most things should be 7-8 episodes long for story time. I think storytelling flows better in television. I think the biggest thing that's hurt those Marvel shows, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, The Defense, all of them is they're too long. All of them, only maybe season 1 of Daredevil. All of them are too long at 13 episodes. They should be 7-8 episodes at the longest, and they would have more money for each episode. And there just isn't enough plot to sustain 13 episodes. It just hasn't been for any of those shows. Most shows don't have enough plot to be 13 episodes long, in my opinion. I think TV works way better when it's shorter. 43-minute long episodes, 8 episodes a season, I think is perfect for most TV shows. Apparently Marvel is going to play ScarJo a lot for the Black Widow movie. I may have to leave due to some errands, but my grandmother. So I want to ask, if you had heard about Active God Guy, and what would you tell him advice about his writing? I don't really know. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Felicity is Hawkeye. That's not a bad choice. It's just a look thing. It's a visual thing. It's not really anything. It has nothing to do with the actress or sexism. It's just, something, you got to come across a certain way in a movie. That's just what it is. You got to come across tough. That's all I ask, is that you come across, Bruce Willis, he came across tough. You could buy him as John McClane. If I could recast Ray, geez, I don't know. Yeah, the season 1 of Kingpin, he had Wesley, and that really worked, and there was enough going on. I haven't watched all of season 2 of Jessica Jones, no. Nintendo never do anything with Metroid. A movie is incomprehensible at this point. I don't know why they won't make a movie. I mean, a new video game with that character. I don't know why we've had to wait so long for a new freaking game. Why are you guys watching all these crap movies? Because we have to talk about them and stay in the, on the zeitgeist. We have to stay current, unfortunately. Ronda Rousey, well, she's a bad actress, but yeah, if she didn't say any lines of dialogue, she'd be pretty good. It's like the chick who plays Phasma, Brienne of Tarth. You could buy her someone who could beat ass. She's like, what, 6'2"? She's huge. And she's muscular. She's not a small, I could buy her as tough. I mean, they don't give her anything to do as Captain Phasma. No, I did not know that that Thor Ragnarok was going to contain tentacle hentai, but that does not surprise me. No, it's okay, Rod. There's so many questions, I get overwhelmed. But I'd say still to this day, the tightest season of any Marvel show was the first season of Daredevil. That's the only one where the 13 episodes really didn't get on my nerves. I do not need to see ScarJo as an action actress either. I agree. I think she's more of a dramatic actress. I think she works better. My favorite performance from her is her as Samantha, where she's just the voice. I've always preferred Lost in Translation, Match Point. I prefer her in all of those movies than in action roles. The one time I think she really killed it as Black Widow was in Winter Soldier. I liked how she looked in that movie. I liked the dialogue they gave her. Yeah, Gwen, isn't it? Gwen Christie. Yeah, she's terrific. She definitely looks like somebody that could kick your ass, and I like that about her. Um, hey Pat, they just released Metroid last year and working on Prime 4. Yeah, but they haven't released like a main staple game in a while. Metroid Prime 4 confirmed. No, I know it was confirmed, but like I said, it's been what, like 10 years before we got a Metroid game, and we didn't get anything during the Wii U era, and we didn't really get any. I mean, it's been a long time. It's like waiting for a Star Fox game. Um, Ray has the Force. Yeah, I know. I can't tell whether Frank Miller is a genius or crazy bitter old man. Two things can be true at the same time. He could have been a genius and a crazy bitter old man today. If you weren't watching these crap movies, they would not be zeitgeist. Well, if the 50 people in this chat and myself are the reason that these movies are important, then that's kind of ridiculous. Millions of people have to go see the movie. So your point doesn't have much validity to it, unfortunately. I appreciate what you're saying, but it doesn't hold true. We can't be a small sample size. I doubt we're the people that's making a lot of the money here. I mean, I doubt Disney's making all of its money from this chat. It's from the millions of people that go see their movies, that are obsessed with those kinds of films. So, if I don't go see a movie, that has no impact whatsoever. It would have to be a much bigger change than that. So no. Pat, man, I've just got the attitude today. I'm just going after everyone, aren't I? I'm just digging right through. Cliche Winter Soldier proves cliches can be done right. Yeah, it can. Pat, I say Marvel had any new original ideas. I was surprised you pitched a shit script. I mean, I didn't pitch a script. I pitched an idea to make into a successful movie that would make money. I didn't pitch a script. So I don't even get your response in that level. I didn't sit down and say I'm going to write a script out. And what makes you think that if I wrote a survival film with Hawkeye, it wouldn't be awesome? Why would that be a bad script? You don't think I could do like a Jeremiah Johnson with Hawkeye? You don't think I could write something awesome with Hawkeye? I mean, okay. I would take First Blood as an inspiration. I think you could do a lot of great things with that character. But I pitched a movie that would make money. That's kind of how you get movies made, Kevin. Just saying. Millions of people have to watch these movies because millions of people are watching these movies. No, millions of people go see the movies, and that's how it is. Us seeing them or not doesn't matter. We just go see them because I have to review movies and talk about them. If I don't go see them, then I don't have content. And I have to do a show like this, and I have to know what I'm talking about. It's like, that's just basic stuff. It's like listening to music. I don't like all music, but I have to listen to some stuff if I'm going to talk about it. Supply and demand. There's a demand for these movies, so they go make money. That's all it is. Millions of. It's not that people have to go see them because people see them. It's just people see them. I can't control the market. I can't control millions of people's decisions, and this chat's not a reflection of millions of people. It's just it never will be either. We're an echo chamber. We're a bubble of people with certain taste and certain things that we like to do and certain movies we like to watch, but we're just a small bubble of that. There's most people don't give a damn, and they just go see movies. But film's been dying; it's been declining. If you just look at Disney, Disney's really the only studio that's really doing well. A lot of the other studios' films aren't doing that great. And people don't go see original films. They don't go see films like look at Annihilation's box office. Even Three Billboards, a great movie, 50 million. That's nothing compared to what like 200, $300 million movie, that make money. So, it's just what it is right now. There's not, you can't. What's popular is never always been what's good. So that's kind of the problem. Yeah, we're in our own little bubble here. I can't affect the market. I can't change the market. Me not going to see a movie doesn't mean a damn thing. They don't care if I go see the movie. Nintendo. Oh crap! Ray should get her leg chopped in the next film so she doesn't have a leg to stand. That's funny. Hey Pat, would Disney buying Toys R Us be a good thing? No, because it would be a waste of money on their part. It's like buying a lot of businesses right now. It's a horrible idea. Why don't you make Battle Beast movie? That would be awesome. I'd be into that. Japan has meh attitude towards Metroid. Samus has more following. There's a lot of things like that. I know Akira's much more popular in the West than it ever was in the East, which is really interesting when you think about how important that film is in the lexicon of anime. Disney is a monopoly and Toys R Us is dead. Yeah, Disney doesn't need Toys R Us, and really toy sales are just going down in general. People really aren't buying action figures, toys, merchandise like they were. Definitely like in the 90s and 2000s. Let's see. I have the Captain Power charging station. Hey, cool, man. The Rambo animated series was underrated. Yeah, I forgot about that. I think the gap between amateur and professional filmmakers is shrinking rapidly due to cheaper technology. I agree with you, Noel. I do think that's changing. I think most art films or dramatic films or original films are going to be on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and with the digital technology. While the films that are going to be in the theater are just going to be spectacle-driven movies. They're going to be a lot. I think VR, like 3D, is going to become a thing. I think VR is going to blow up in cinemas. I think it's going to be event movies. I think films that are more, like A Shape of Water, Three Billboards, I think those will be more on streaming services by directors who are independent but have the equipment now to make good looking. It's cheaper to make a good looking movie now. But, a lot of these other films are playing to international audiences. And the international audiences are still huge, but that will decline. Films are declining overall. People look at like Black Panther, they go, "That's making so much money," but that's just one thing of success from one studio. I mean, it's monopoly. It's not like across the board Hollywood's doing well. A lot of studios are hurting. A lot of films are hurting. It's just that one studio's been killing it for the last 20 years. In particular, they've been really dominating the market for the last decade. Um, let's see. Damn it, most of my life I lived nowhere remotely near Toys R Us, so missed almost all the good years. Yeah, I used to go to it all the time. 70 millimeter isn't cheap now, but most people don't care about shooting in 70 millimeter. How many people shoot in 70 millimeter? What, 3 or 4 directors? Tarantino and Christopher Nolan. Nobody shoots in 70 millimeter. Those movies, Interstellar made money, but Paul Thomas Anderson. Nobody gives a crap about the 70 millimeter thing. It's a gimmick that doesn't really have this huge response to it. I care. I like how they look, but nobody uses it. So yeah, no. Movies are cheaper. Digital is cheaper because you can shoot a movie now and make it look pretty good, and the camera's doing a lot of the work now. You don't need the expert DPs like you once did with lighting. So yeah, no, I don't see anyone using 70 millimeter. There's only like 3 directors who use it ever, and it doesn't really seem to help the box office that much. Hateful Eight didn't, it made money, but it wasn't, that didn't really help that much. So yeah, I don't really see that as it. Nobody shoots in that. So, I mean, like Danny Boyle just got signed to James Bond. I promise you, he's most likely going to shoot it in digital. Just like Sam Mendes shot Skyfall. Even though Sam Mendes did shoot film on Spectre, and I did like how it looked. But most movies are shot digital now anyway, and it's going to continue that way. I don't really see. I don't know. From what I see, it's going to be way more like dramatic films, horror films, art films are going to be online, and only big budget spectacle films like the Star Wars, like the Marvel films will be in theater, and they're going to be the only ones making money. People aren't going to go see movies like Ex Machina, and they really don't. Ex Machina didn't do that great. I really like the Guyver. Yeah, Guyver's cool. 98% of all movies are crap. Has been that way since film was invented. I'm having many ideas for movies, but they are crap too. I mean, yeah, most things are crappy. I mean, most music sucks. Most books suck. Most things suck because, people don't really... What do you think about Once Upon a Time as Hollywood so far? I mean, it sounds cool. I don't know too much about it. I only know, about Brad Pitt and Leo being a stuntman and an actor of a Western show, and then he's neighbors with Sharon Tate. And I've heard Pulp Fiction comparisons because it takes place in L.A. and it's got multiple stories going on. But I'm excited. I want to see Leo and Brad Pitt work with Tarantino on the movie. I think that looks cool. I hope it's good. There's a lot of things are dying, man. Arcades, comic book store, libraries are going away. Everyone has Kindle. I mean, video games are the future. Video games, VR is the future. Online VR, internet is the future. It's not people going to the movie theater. It's not people going to bookstores. It's people sitting at home with a VR mask on the internet like Futurama. Or Ready Player One's a perfect example. That's the future. That's the future of that's just the future. That's the future of art. That's the future of entertainment. And anyone who's denying that is living in some fantasy world where they're clinging on to the past and not accepting how things are changing. I would say literature is dead. Traditional literature is dead. It's all franchise books now. I think that stores marketing. I think marketing's dead. I think that everything will be Amazon. Think about how many people just get their food from Amazon. They get everything from Amazon. And people are just going to be at home doing the VR internet thing. They're going to be, well, I mean, think about it, when I was a teenager. I mean, I was just watching porn, like just watching porn online and trying to find stuff. If I have a kid down the road, I'm gonna be like, hey, what are you doing, buddy? And he's gonna be like, hey, Dad, I'm gonna go bang Scarlett Johansson in my VR headset when she was like 23. What? Yeah, Dad, I'm gonna go have sex in my VR suit. I'll be back. And he'll be way happier, and he'll never leave. It'll be the holodeck from Star Trek. And we're not far off from this. We are, I don't even think, a decade away from this happening, the full singularity, the full technology taking over. And it's scary. It's really scary. Because what value then will people have in the real world? Will we working and doing stuff? It's a really scary concept when you think about it, because are there going to become VR jobs? Is that the... Oh, I miss the Wild West too. I definitely miss the pirate ship of the internet. I would watch a Tarantino Saved by the Bell where Zach's character is able to freeze time and talk to the audience. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. Screw the future. I like your attitude. Gundam is for smart people, not teens, too deep, but I seriously doubt the millions they were forced to buy on Gundam toys is 1/10 of the Last Jedi toys. I mean, I wouldn't say every Gundam is smart. You don't have to be smart to get G Gundam. You don't have to be smart to, get into a lot of the Gundam shows. I think some of them are pretty smart. I don't think all Gundam is smart. Depending on what you're thinking of. But it also is kind of cool because you'll be able to design stuff in VR. You'll be able to make stuff, make movies, make art. I mean, it's gonna lessen the professions of making music. Like, music's already been declining in that way. And being a filmmaker, it used to be to become a filmmaker, you had to reach a certain level of standard. But that's going to be different. It's going to be completely different in 10, 20 years. Artificial intelligence will write scripts and make movies while you are... I agree. I think that's where the future's going. The AI and other people will be making movies for you. And they won't need directors. They won't be needing to pay people, actors, and all. The writing's on the wall. Hollywood's dead. A lot of industries are dead. They're not dead right now. It's a long-term thing, but they will be dead in our lifetime. They will not be... Actors will not be getting the $20 million. Once it becomes... Like how digital changed everything. Now, if you're an independent filmmaker, you can make a movie that gets released in theaters with digital. You can afford to buy your own stuff. It was so hard to do that before, to buy film and get something out there. That's just kind of where it's going. Can't act your VR fantasies on a sex robot, too. That's the thing. Like, people are going to be doing everything VR. Now that the technology's here, the more it evolves, the more people are going to assimilate to it. That's the future. And there's no debate about it. I mean, do you seriously think it was the Gundam toy models that killed Toys R Us? No, I don't. I used to go buy the Gundam toys all the time. I owned like 100 Gundam toys at one point. So the other day I blacked out, and when I came to, I had boxes from Blue Apron around my apartment. What the hell? Okay, folks. What would it have been like if Quentin Tarantino directed the Watchmen movie? Would have been better. Yes, digital actors replacing real actors. Yes, that will definitely happen. That will definitely happen. Yeah, well, nobody's quite buying into VR yet, but give it a few years. When it gets there, it's going to be like the cell phone. It'll just take over within a couple years. Like back in the 90s, it was like, oh, only cell phones only lasted a couple hours, only some people have them. Then by 2005, everyone had cell phones. That's how it's going to be with VR. At first, it's going to be like, okay, some people have it. 10 years from now, everyone's going to have VR in their house. Everyone's going to be VR. Everyone's going to be in a hologram world doing what they want. 100%. That Futurama episode could not be more accurate. It could not be. Snow Crash could not be more accurate of the future. It's exactly where things are going. Just like Elon Musk and all these other people are telling you about AI, that's part of it. Technology is not going to stop evolving past us. It's going to keep developing and getting greater and greater. And easier. It's going to get easier. Future sounds lame. I believe you, Pat. I don't want to accept if I'm going to Mars with Elon Musk to make an edgy experimental film about escapism. Yeah, you could make the Herzog film on Mars with your VR. I mean, Tarantino, he could handle Watchmen better than Zack Snyder. I agree with you. He's not my choice for it, but I'll take him over Zack Snyder. Holy crap. Please. At least he can get a good performance or two. I mean, I know Jackie Earle Haley's really good, but some of the performances are terrible. We are VR. VR troopers. Yeah, VR troopers, baby. I can't wait for the AI movies. HAL 9000 writes and directs every movie. The AI wins the Oscar. Thank you. I appreciate this. So you're telling me that AIs will write movies about the AI uprising before it happens? Yeah, they'll let us know what they're going to do, and we'll fall for it anyway. Oh, yeah, The Universes in Boxes is a great episode. A lot of cool science stuff in Futurama that they really explore. Actually, some really neat little sci-fi. What's the Tom Cruise movie where the government predicts crime? Minority Report, which also feels very modern. That movie actually got technology pretty close and believable, but Minority Report from Steven Spielberg. Digital Actors was the only one to watch. I really liked Watchmen, but I've only seen it once. Yeah, it doesn't hold up to repeat viewings, in my opinion. I liked it when I saw it in the theater, but every time I've watched Watchmen, it gets worse. And I noticed the flaws, especially the full cut of that movie. Oh my god. And it's just kind of dull. It's sort of toneless. That's my biggest issue with it. So basically the film industry will essentially be like YouTube. Yes! Just like YouTube gets millions of hits on videos and television is declining. Television ratings, sports ratings. TV is dying. Film is dying. Literature is dying. It's been dying for a while now. It's just people haven't fully jumped over yet. They will. They will 10, 20 years. And people know this. But, it's just where everyone's kind of in denial somewhat about where the future's going, that it is becoming that. Because of what you say on books, cinema, and writing, it's the way I ask why your take on Act of God. Then again, his site was taken down time ago. True. I'm afraid I will take the Oscar, Dave. I won't let you do that, Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I must insist. Oh, yeah. No, Minority Report's great. Excluding, the last 20 minutes. Everything's awesome. It's a pretty great movie. And it's definitely one of Spielberg's great movies, for sure. Great filmmaking. One of Tom Cruise's best performances. Really overlooked. I thought AI was Spielberg's last great movie. Yeah, I'm pretty mixed on AI, but visually it's pretty amazing. So are all the good movies will be demonetized. Good directors always run out of steam eventually. Man, everyone kind of runs out of steam eventually. That's just kind of life. You never stay on top. You never stay in the groove. It's just how life works out. I don't believe in talent being that great. I think a lot of the times people have good connections, so there's an illusion of talent that comes across from 20, 30 years of success, but I don't think anyone's that great. I think I think it's limited, and I think a lot of it's luck and who you work with on anything. I think that's just part of life. It's like Steve Jobs. I don't think he was that talented. I think he just met a lot of the right people and was patient enough and made a lot of right decisions and worked things out. I never think it's this long-lasting thing. I don't think any actor, musician, person's that brilliant. I think you have your time where you're brilliant. And this isn't true for everyone. But for most people, it seems like you have your time when you're brilliant, and then it just kind of goes away. I know, yeah, AI was Kubrick, and then he wanted Spielberg to direct it. Will your movies suck eventually, Pat? Well, I have to make some good ones first before they can suck. All I've made's bad stuff, so I have to get to the good point so then I can crash. So yeah, eventually all my stuff will suck. Yeah. Well, once I have my good period, I'm still waiting for that to happen. Then I'll have the bad period. I need my reconnaissance, if you will. So, Pat, what are your thoughts on A Wrinkle in Time director being given a DCU movie? I think it's a bad choice. I don't get why she got the job from Wrinkle in Time, honestly. Do you think we will see a rise to smaller... We have been seeing a rise in small independent films showing up a lot more. Netflix bought 700 things this year. Go to Netflix. Most of the movies they have third party it's crap. It's some crappy indie film that was made by somebody. But yeah, independent cinema's not dead at all. And I think it's just going to grow with the technology. Think about Sean Baker, the guy who did Tangerine and Florida Project. He shot Tangerine on an iPhone with some cinematic lenses. That's going to keep happening. I mean, it's not going to stop. I mean, this is what happened in music, and things just lose value once other people have access to it and kind of get the illusion of how to make a movie and make things, and more people have access to it. People can edit and shoot stuff on their phone now. I mean, it's new stuff, man. You couldn't do that before. You couldn't edit and put stuff together on your phone so easily. Now everyone does it. Everyone's learning how to do it. Kids will know how to do it. It'll lose a lot of its novelty, and that's anything. You know, things eventually lose money, or they lose value. God, we are 2 hours. What the hell? This was supposed to be a short episode. I ranted way too much. Things lose value. Things change. Oh, David Lynch VR would be amazing. It's also going to change how we view films because there's going to be a 360 aspect to the VR thing. That's pretty crazy. What if John Carpenter or Stanley Kubrick directed Watchmen? Well, I would prefer Kubrick of those two. I think he could have done something interesting there. I liked watching you hang with Kylo. I like the writing and the acting. The bad Mr. Rewind movie. I only seen Kylo, but I like you and Kylo. Well, thank you. I mean, that's not really a movie. That's a YouTube video. You know, we went and shot that in like 20 minutes, and then we dub it and all that. You know, there's not a lot of work put into that. We don't put any work into the lighting or the framing. We don't put any work. I mean, I can't tell you how lazy we are with the Kylo show. We really just go slap it together. So I wouldn't really... I think there's a different standard. It's a free YouTube video. I mean, I think they're good. I think Kylo Show 1 and 2 are good, but that's just me, like, slacking off. That's not me putting a lot of effort into something. I didn't, like, pour my heart into it. And it didn't pay off. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to say that on here, Fallen Angel. That would get me in trouble, you jerk. How dare you? Yeah, Baker, yeah, he made that on an iPhone. I mean, that's going to keep happening. That stuff's not going to lessen with time. It's going to get to this weird point where teenagers are making movies that look good. That have, like, good-looking cinematography. And all that. It's gonna be very weird. Your Kylo is better than Adam Driver. Would you add Hux? Possibly. It depends on where we plan on going with it. I know they had no script for Fury Road. You can tell when you watch it. I don't think Kubrick would have cared about Watchmen or comic books. He did say he would have made a kids movie, though. I mean, who knows? If he might have liked Watchmen, if he'd have read it. He might have responded to it. We don't know how he would have liked Watchmen. I certainly think there's stuff in there that he would have been attracted to as a filmmaker that suits his, especially visually. I could see him wanting to do some of that stuff. I do like my Kylo better. I think I do have the better Kylo. I agree. I'm sorry if I'm being so bitter, angry guy. I slept way too much. I had just like one of those things where I've been sleeping and the weather's been changing. Are teenagers already making good movies? I would say no. No teenager is out there making great movies. But I think a lot of them are making nice-looking movies. I just think the problem is a lot of people aren't learning to be storytellers. They're learning how to edit and make stuff that looks nice, and they're learning a lot more, and the camera's doing a lot of work. They're not really learning how to tell a story and create tension or humor or horror or humanity from that. I think that's where the biggest mistake is. People are getting technically wiser, but they're losing a lot of the humanity. And I am sleepy. It's weird. I slept I basically went to bed, like, my girlfriend came home last night, and I was at bed at 10, and I woke up at midnight and went back to sleep till 4. Woke up at 4, stayed up till 8 watching comedians in cars getting coffee. Went back to sleep, slept till noon, 8 till noon. Woke up at noon, went and checked my rabbits, ate some food, went back to sleep, and then slept till like 2:30. So I'm just kind of like, I overslept. It's getting a little warm out, so I think, but I am so. It's like I'm awake and tired at the same time. Like I had this like 2 hour dream. It's like right now I feel awake, so I'm sorry if I'm coming off a little grumpy or aggressive. I'm not trying to be that way. It's just how I feel right now. I'm just kind of in a meh mood. I'm not trying to be grumpy. I'm sorry if I'm being grumpy. Um, like I do apologize. I know I'm being a little grumpy and sassy, and I'm not trying to be. Um, I'm just in no mood for bullshit today. That's quite frankly, no mood for it. I have no tolerance for bullshit today. And any little bit of bullshit I see is just gonna set me off. So that's all it is. I have no tolerance today. It's like if I was a teacher and I had to go deal with a bunch of kids, it just would not be a good day. I'm not saying you guys are a bunch of kids, obviously, but it's yeah. I have no tolerance today for putting up with stuff. Just because yeah, I don't know. I'm not in a great mood. Um, Grumpy Pat is still good, Pat. Yeah, no, I just want to apologize. I'm not trying to attack any of you guys. I don't want to come off like I'm being mean or something. I think that's never the goal ever with this or being um yeah, I'm male PMSing. I'm menstruating for sure. I'm definitely menstruating. Um Manstrating if you have a Snickers. Thank you, Child of the Flower. I will take that Snickers. I probably should eat something. That probably would make me feel better. You need to carb up and do some workouts. That's a good point, my friend. Um, be sassy. Why stand for bullshit any day? I guess you shouldn't, but it helps. It helps get through the day. My calm demeanor is kind of being it's a little broken right now. Is that why you aired the stream late? Yeah, I didn't feel very great. My stomach kind of hurt, and I just didn't feel. I felt but that's the tough thing about Box Office Addict is I have to do it every Sunday, and my mood is different every week. I'm not always in a good mood, so I have to do it on days I'm not in a good mood. So it's just that's what it is. But whatever. I can deal with it. I just wanna let you guys know I'm not like angry if I come across that way. If I'm coming off angry or something, I'm not. I don't have any ill will towards any of you guys. There's no negativity here. It's just there's something in the air today. There's some kind of melancholy, something in the air today that's making me a little, I don't know, just a little grumpy. But that's life. Whatever. Maybe I'm getting older. My birthday's in a week. I'm turning 28 in a week, so maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Who knows? Um, Grumpy Pat is good, Pat, when he mistakes me saying a bad script as me praising Marvel. Well, it wasn't that so much. I didn't get what you were saying basically because I was just pitching a movie to make money, and I think you came about it from a different place than I was coming at it. I think I was coming at it from, well, this would make money and this would be a good idea, not necessarily like I wouldn't make that movie. I don't want to make that movie, but do I think it would be successful? Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be. I mean, no, don't get me wrong, 28's not old. I know I'm not old. Uh, like, I'm not even 30. There's just a lot of things. I'm moving soon. That's stressful. Life's stressful. Um, well, hey, man, I'm glad that I cheer you up on Sundays, man. It makes me happy to hear that because you guys keep me going in a lot of ways. All you guys cheer me up. No, I would never go see a psychiatrist. And I don't really like. Yeah, I know, but I wasn't talking about a script. I was talking about a pitch for what kind of movie it would be. I wasn't talking about a script. Script is not what I was saying. Is what I would say. I wasn't talking about a script. You were. stream of your drinking yourself into a coma? No, I don't really like drinking or doing stuff like that when I stream. I'm moving into Pittsburgh. I live outside of Pittsburgh. I'm going to be moving into Pittsburgh very soon. So that's been very stressful, finding an apartment. Um, serious question. Have you seen a psychiatrist? No, but I have no interest in seeing a psychiatrist. I have nothing against psychology. I don't like most psychology majors. And I find most of them to be, I don't want to say con artists, but I've had a lot of these discussions with Blood Money. I know a lot about those things. I know a lot about psychology. I know a lot about philosophy. I know a lot about neuroscience. And I'm not dumb, and I know, and so I kind of see through bullshit very well. And it's tough for me to take those things seriously. It's tough for me to not. I feel like I would end up helping the psychiatrist more than they would help me. I feel like I would end up telling them everything. I mean, helping them with their life than more with my life. I've been to Scranton. For sure. Just that they're expensive and they're not really worth it. I don't think I'm suited for it. I think it's for people who need someone to talk to and kind of get out with their own experiences. I don't really need that. That's not how I'm built. That's why I make movies and videos and stuff like that. That's what makes me feel good. Someone talking to me doesn't really make me feel better, or listening to me or giving me advice. That's never really made me feel better. And that's just me. I'm not saying it doesn't work for other people. I know you're not saying I'm dumb. I know that. I'm just saying I'm a little too. It's just not suited for me. I don't think very highly of the profession, and I think I would be a little too challenging, and I think it would just be a waste of both of our time, that person and me, and money. And I don't think it would help me much. But that's just me. I'm not saying it wouldn't work for other people. Psychiatrists tend to, despite getting to know your problems, assign your permanent answers, basically the same advice everyone will give you. Yeah, that's really the thing. They don't really say anything that profound. You see, I know someone in Scranton, but never been there. Well, that's interesting, man. You should go to PA sometime. I mean, it's not that great, but it's worth visiting. I'm glad that you caught the live stream too. I appreciate it. Will you ever do a top 3 or top 5 Gundam series? I should talk about anime more. For me, it would be 8th MS Team, Zeta Gundam, and War in the Pocket would probably be my top 3 Gundam shows. No, I would go 8th MS Team, War in the Pocket, 0080, then Zeta Gundam. Because I think Zeta Gundam's aged a little bit. I agree with Pat. I don't think I would get much out of a psychiatrist. No, and I've known people that are psychiatrists, and I know a lot of psychology. I mean, I've had a lot of friends who study psychology, and I studied psychology a lot, and I don't find much in it that would bring much to my life, for me personally. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't help other people, or people who have chemical imbalances and need medication. That's important. People should deal with that stuff. I mostly do reviews on movies. I'm kind of a smaller channel. Wish I was bigger, though. Well, G4784, I hope people subscribe to you. I'll give you a shout out there. When's the podcast coming? Whenever me and Blood Money record it, damn it. I don't know when the hell that's going to happen. But G-Force, I hope people sub to you, man. I really do. Hey, Pat, recently some reason I've been imagining Zack Snyder making a movie about a boy playing as a hot female avatar in a VA fighting game. Dude, I think you just pitched the best Zack Snyder movie I've ever heard. Pat, I'm actually a psych major more in the biology field. Well, I think biology is much more important, and the thing to focus on more in there. I think therapy relies very heavily on the patient-therapist relationships for it to work. Please do your top 5 Gundam review. Well, please. I'll try to, man. I'll try to talk about anime more. I definitely want to do a One Punch Man video for people, and I have a lot to say. You have a good night, Jake. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a fan. I guess we should get to the number 1 movie since how long this episode is. Black Panther. What is there to say? 33% drop. 27 million, 605 million. So my estimates over the last few weeks are correct here. This will pass The Avengers as the highest grossing Marvel film domestically. It's about to pass The Last Jedi, will do so by next weekend. This will also pass Jurassic World. This film's final total will be 650 million plus, where it's at right now. I don't think it'll reach 700 million. The only modern film that it can be compared to is Force Awakens, because that made 936 million. This is 300 million below that, but who gives a damn? You can't complain about a 650 million total. $200 million budget. Let's say the marketing was $100 million. They spent a lot of money. So let's say they have $320 million in this movie. 650 mil domestic. The film will pass 1.2 billion worldwide. I don't know if it'll do much better than that. I don't know if it'll reach 1.3. But that domestic total is so huge. There was an article on Deadline saying that Disney is estimated to make $460 million plus in profit off of this film. So they're going to make $500 million profit off of this movie, is according to the estimates that have just come out recently. I don't think it'll pass Last Jedi worldwide. I think it will pass it domestically. I think it's still got a long ways to go to get that worldwide total. But that would be interesting, no denouncing it. I might do a video on Evangelion for sure. What do you think of the reviews? I didn't read the Black Panther reviews and the Chinese Black Panther reviews, so I don't really know. But yeah, this is highly successful. Yeah, they're saying that Disney will make $500 million profit. Bob Iger is getting a $450 million like severance package or something when he leaves. So they're going to make $500 million off this movie. No question they made $400 million or something off Beauty and the Beast. Last Jedi, they probably made 400-something million. So right there with 3 movies, you have $1.5 billion in profits from Disney. And that's not including all of the other stuff that they made money off of. So this film alone is going to make them $500 million, which pretty much just pays for all of Infinity War. And then Infinity War is coming out in May, and that's going to make a lot of money. So Disney, they can afford the Fox deal, and this is yeah, I actually been using that avatar for the last few months for that reason. I used to always use the other Pat avatar, but I used the more stubble, tired one because that kind of represents more where I'm at for a while. I'm very tired. I work a lot. I spend like 15 hours every day, sometimes 18 hours doing stuff. I don't get a lot of time to just kind of chill. And it's I think it's just caught up to me, is what a lot of it is. Just it's caught up to me, all the work I've done. Could Black Panther boost already monster opening of Advent? I think it will boost the opening weekend for sure. I definitely see it having a huge opening weekend, 250 million for sure. I watched a video with some after viewing reactions. They were pretty positive about it. Huh. Thank you for liking my avatar. Blood Money worked on that avatar with his friend. We kind of just came up with it in like 10 minutes. I changed my YouTube name to Please Rewind. I messaged him and said, "Hey, can you make a thing out of this?" And then like 20 minutes later, we had it all done, and that was it. So, but yeah, for $500 million profit, that's insane. For Ryan Coogler, he's a big name now. He's going to be signed. They want these sequels. Black Panther will not be killed off in Infinity War. He is printing his own money. The fact this is going to pass Joss Whedon's Avengers and become the highest grossing comic book film domestically is insane. It's absolutely insane. I'm starting to lower my expectations for Infinity War. Remember Phantom Menace or Force Awakens? Yeah, I don't think it'll be that way, though. I think most Marvel films are more entertaining than Force Awakens. For me, I find them to be better than most of them. I think Ant-Man's a better movie than Force Awakens. Where do you stand on stubbornness and pride? Stubbornness and pride. I think being stubborn's a good thing. I think having pride's stupid. I think pride's an ego and illusion, and I think for men in particular can really hurt you. And I think take away a lot of opportunities in your life and doing things. But I think being stubborn's a very good thing. I think you should be stubborn. And want to do things. But yeah, I don't really believe in pride. I'm not a pride guy. I don't like the idea of pride. I think pride's stupid. I'm kind of with Marcellus Wallace on that. F pride, butch. Because pride's just a mental thing. It doesn't really necessarily equal good results. And I would say that a lot of people need to get over their own egos to actually not just be successful, but to be happy. You're never going to be happy if you have these crazy expectations of yourself that aren't real. You have this idea that you have more value or worth than you actually do. You're really not worth what you think you are. You're worth nothing most of the time. You have to make yourself valuable. Then maybe you can have some pride. But if you don't got anything to show for it, then screw your pride. I don't care. I care about results. I want to see results. If there's no results, then you can be as prideful as you want, but shove it up your ass. Black Widow Origins film would have been better than Red Sparrow. I mean, I agree. The Red Sparrow thing was a pretty much a bad idea now in retrospect. Where do you stand on stubbornness and pride? Where do you stand on tipping people who provide a service? Why won't you make a Patreon and take our money? Because I don't need your money in that way. I don't want to owe you guys something. Like, this is you guys giving me tips, right? I'm doing a live stream, you're giving me tips. Patreon's not a tip. Patreon is you are paying for services, so thus you give me money every month, and then I have to make videos, and we go back and forth. I don't have an attachment to it. I think there's I don't want to be that connected where I feel like I owe you guys something or you feel entitled to me. And you may think you may not feel entitled, but eventually people will feel entitled. And a lot of people on YouTube manipulate. They lie. They make their life sound worse than it is. They act like they need money. They act like they care more about their subscribers than they do. So people will give them that Patreon money. They e-beg. They want that money because that money validates their lack of artistic success because there's somebody who makes YouTube videos. It makes your content lazy. And it makes people rely on that. They think, oh, well, because I'm getting paid and I have this arbitrary number of money I make, or that I have this many subscribers, that makes me important. That validates me. That means I'm successful. I don't like that. I like the challenge. I think you should try to make money off ad revenue. People lie about demonetization. They lie to you about Patreon. A lot of those YouTubers lie. And I know they lie. They lie about that they don't get money off ad revenue. Actually, almost all of them make money off ad revenue. Or they're making money off some sort of sponsorship, and they really don't need the money. Or they've already made enough money, they don't need any more money. But they're addicted to it. They're addicted to people validating them with that money. And they want, they manipulate people. A lot of people are lonely. A lot of people want to feel like they're part of something. And a lot of people feel like they belong if they give this money. They belong and they're involved with this thing, but you never will be. And there's really this selfishness to Patreon that everyone has, and I don't like it. I think it's toxic. I don't care if people do it. If people want to have a Patreon, that's fine. But almost every YouTuber lies about how much money they actually make. I mean, I'll tell you guys right now, I'm not going to lie to you. Last month, I made like $600 off YouTube. If I'm making that much money off ad revenue, then how much money is, mundane map making when he starts every video? Alternative media, YouTube's trying to kill alternative media. Give me my Patreon. Now, he's pretending that he doesn't get any money and all of his videos get demonetized. That's just not true. If I'm making that much money, he's making a couple $1,000s because he gets more hits than I do on average. But they pretend that they're not. TJ Kirkwack like he makes no money. It's ridiculous. And they use people's emotions to get them to give them more money. They use people, they play to the audience, that the audience feels like if they're giving money, they're part of it and they're helping it. And I don't like that. And I don't want to send people out. I don't want to send people stuff. I don't want to send them shirts and hats and crap. I don't want to, I really don't want to deal with any of that. And a lot of those YouTubers come, especially the skeptic community was infamous for this, where it's like, oh, none of us are getting money anymore. And no, Sharkfoot does not have autism. None of us have money anymore, so we need you to give us all this money. And really, they don't need that money. They just want more money than they're worth. Because really, feel like you have value on YouTube is so insane. And to think that you're some kind of, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I'm not trying to crap on Mundane Matt. He just comes to my head right away. He is getting, I promise you he's getting ad revenue. He's like me. He makes videos about movies. If he's not getting green ad, then it makes no sense. A lot of people are getting ad revenue and they make money, but they still want that Patreon, which is fine. Once again, I don't care if that's what people want to do. They have the right to do it. But personally, it makes me uncomfortable. And a lot of the people that use it make me uncomfortable. And I don't like that they have all these thousands of people give them money so they can make YouTube videos. I think I'm just not into it. I think it's silly. But, once again, you want to pay your bills. People want to give you the money. I guess they want to give you the money. But I would only use it if it helped benefit, like if I could buy better equipment or it could go into the channel or make more content. But, I get why people use it for that reason. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't really... I don't know. I'm just not big on crowdfunding. I don't like people giving me money for my stuff. I like making my own money. The ad revenue, you guys watch it. If you turn your ad block off, you get to see an ad. It's free for you, like on television. And because my video did well, people made money. I like that. I like it being that way. I'm not big on people giving me money directly. It's like I have a bunch of bosses then. And I don't like other people being in control on any level. And I don't like anybody influencing me. And the money would influence me. If you guys were giving me money on Patreon, it would influence how I make videos and how I think about stuff. And I don't want to be influenced by that stuff. I want to just be influenced by what I think's a good video. And I'm tired. My main thing is I'm sick of all these YouTubers lying about ad revenue, acting like they don't get any money. It's ridiculous. They're lying like crazy. All of these YouTubers are lying through their teeth about how much money they got and how much money they still... I mean, just lying to you. They all live in these nice houses and apartments. How do you think they got the money for that stuff? Where do you think all the money came from? Think about, and then they try to pretend that they're all going broke. It's a lie. They're just straight up lying. And that's what it is. I mean, you would trust crowdfunding after all those indie video blunders from Kickstarter. That's the thing, yeah. It's so, and I don't want to rip people off. I feel like I would make a mistake and people would feel ripped off, and I don't like that either. I don't like the idea of owing people stuff and not getting it out there to them. It just bothers me. I don't want to have that responsibility. It's not laziness. I just don't have an interest in being that close to an audience. I think that kind of eliminates the point. I think part of the point that makes it interesting is the audience and you're you. And I think when you start to eliminate that middle ground, it gets a little fuzzy. It gets a little fuzzy and it makes you worse. I do. I don't know any content creator that makes better content because they have a Patreon. If their content was already good, it was not made better by a Patreon. Typically, that just helped them buy more booze for their live stream so they could get drunk or high on a live stream and hang out with their friends and buy some house. It almost never makes the people's videos better. And until I can see a benefit to me for making my videos somehow jump up to this greater standard, it's not for me. How do you know for sure they are lying? Because I know the money I make, and I know what a lot of them make, and I've talked to a lot of other YouTubers, and I know that they're lying. Because I kind of know things insider YouTube stuff that maybe you guys don't know. And I know how it works a little bit better than you guys. And I just know people. People typically lie. YouTube is a place to emotionally manipulate people and con people. Because there's nobody to reprimand you or prove you that you did wrong. But no doubt they're lying. Why would they still be making videos? It's very telling that they all started doing the live streams and getting super chat. It's very telling they all start making movie videos after political videos get demonetized. Also, if they weren't lying, they would go have jobs and they would be working and doing stuff. I know it hurts people to hear that people lie to you to get your money, but that's what salesmen do. That's what everyone's always done. Like, it's honestly part of life. If you don't think people are conning you or lying to you to get more money, you don't know how things work. You're buying into it, and it's unfortunate. It's good to be skeptical of people and what they're saying and doing. You have no way to prove that they aren't making money. That's the key there. And they could show you a few videos that got the yellow sign and say, "Oh, I'm not making any money." Meanwhile, they made $100,000 last year off YouTube, and they bought a house from it. And I'm not really. I'm not into that talking about the money and all that. And I don't like the idea of being successful and rich off YouTube. I'd rather make money doing something else and do YouTube for fun. But yeah, people lie. I mean, that's yeah, just it's. But also, I could tell you, I know YouTubers have lied, and they've told me this. I can't tell you names, but I promise you, people lie about it a lot. They lie. They play a victim narrative that YouTube's after them and wants to take all their videos down and never gives them any money. Even Andy Worski said this once. He goes, people exaggerate it. We still make money off ad revenue. Like, you're getting a few 100,000 hits, and it's it's them playing around with economic leverage. They like to, and I am a private person. That's true. I'm very private. I'm more Larry David about stuff. I don't really like the interaction stuff. Okay, you are free to reject our money, but you're also free to change your mind. Don't let bad people let the water fountain stop keep you from drinking. Well, I understand. I'm not judging. Like, people can do what they want. If people want to give people money, hell, do it. That's what strip clubs are. You're giving them some money and they make you feel good. Oh, Worski's just a moron. Jesus Christ, that makes me feel so. That's the thing about YouTube. Think about that guy. He's got like 300,000 subs, and I guarantee you his IQ's 90 at best. I mean, it's hard to believe that guy graduated high school, and I'm sitting here at under 8,000. It's like, there's no quality standard on YouTube. There's no, like, artistic standard. There's nothing, there's no standard, so you just kind of put up with it. You just deal with it. I don't want to be a guy who's thinking, well, maybe one day I'll be as successful as Andy Worski. If I ever start to think that way, I'm going to kill myself. If I ever start to think, maybe I could get as good as Shoe on Head and make as much money as her, I'm going to kill myself. Because if that's the standard I'm trying to meet, if that's the people I'm trying to reach, challenging, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there one bit. No interest. I like the Larry David analogy, but you are not cringy and not quite as funny. Well, yeah, I mean, Larry David's a comedic. But I've been compared to Larry David a lot in my life. Blood Money, me, we say, well, he's Jerry Seinfeld and I'm Larry David. But YouTube's basically a pool of idiots, and some of the idiots swim better to the top than you do. It's kind of silly to scream at YouTube going, no, please take my money. Yeah, Shoe on Head, for instance, pretty girl. I mean, pretty for YouTube standards. In the real world, nobody would pay attention to her, but pretty for YouTube standards. Makes these very clickbait videos, looks at the camera, makes a little smile. They're about 8 minutes long. She makes basic MRA points, and it's like, bye! And she gets 500,000 hits from a bunch of beta males, and she makes her money, and then she's successful and famous and awesome, and she's a comedian and hilarious. Even though if she went to a comedy club, she would bomb. If she tried to make a movie, it wouldn't do well. But I don't look like Larry David, no. But my approach to things is very is very much like Larry David. I definitely relate to him. But if you think if anyone isn't lying to you, then yeah, I don't. IQ shaming. I'll IQ shame. I have a very high IQ, so I can IQ shame. My IQ is very high, so I don't mind IQ shaming. No, she's. I mean, she's not dumb, definitely, and they definitely play up stupidity, a little bit. That's definitely part of it. They play up being dumb to appease to a bigger audience, for sure. I don't find Shoe on Head to be awesome, but if you like her, that's fine. I'm not telling, you can have your opinion. That's fine if you like her. I don't think she's great. I don't like her making 480 videos and saying nothing over 8 minutes and getting 500,000 hits because her thumbnail has her smiling at the camera. It's like if I put my girlfriend in every thumbnail of my videos and just had her smile and look cute, and I put titles like, feminism, mansplaining is stupid, exclamation points, and then have my girlfriend making a face on camera, I'd get 200,000 hits, 300,000 hits. I'm not big on that. That's not my it's not my thing. But once again, if you want to make money, I mean, hell, I don't care. People are making money. It's a free market. You can make money off you want, man. That's awesome. I'm not gonna knock anyone making money. There's a lot of those female YouTubers that really don't contribute anything to the conversation and get attention for just being women. Oh, of course. I'd say almost all of them. If you're semi-attractive and you make YouTube videos, you have a 90% chance of success more than any man who's good looking or ugly because you're a woman and it's the internet. If you put yourself in the thumbnails, this is why they hire all those geek girls at Screen Junkies or Collider, all those fake geek girls that ultimately don't say much of anything. It helps your channel. It helps your channel to have women. Big time. And playing to that audience is a great way to grow on YouTube, is to have a woman around. My videos would do much better when if I had girls around, or if I had girls in them, or I had girls in the thumbnails, or if I had girls talking. They would do much better, no question. No, not even an ounce of doubt in my mind, you know. But that's life. You have to deal with those things. I'm not a huge fan of Ralph the Movie Maker, but he does put a lot of work into his videos and the editing of them and making stuff, and he puts time into them. And I don't have any issue with him making money or being successful. I think he puts work into it, and I'm fine with that. I don't have really any issues with him. I think a lot of his criticism is very basic in his film understanding, but he seems like a nice guy. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, buddy. Hey, Pat. Apparently, Rotten Tomatoes will have an alternative version of itself with only female movie reviews. Well, that's sexist. Pat, I subbed to Patriarchy, and now I'm getting movie talk. What gives? When can I expect more political vids from you? Maybe in the future. I don't know if I'll ever go back to politics. I don't really know if there's a market for it or if YouTube. We'll let that play out. Yeah, Ralph's just okay to me. I've never really been that blown away by Ralph. I like his Bigfoot and Ghost Show video more than I do his movie reviews. But once again, that's just me. Anyway, Black Panther, huge hit. Can't deny it. 1.1 billion. I love his last 20 minutes. I'm just complaining about other YouTubers. I'm just being like, they're all con artists. Don't listen to them. But never trust anything. Never take anything at face value. That's an important lesson to learn in life. Don't take things at face value. I comment when I understand. Most times I'm kind of useless. And you're not useless. Watching the video doesn't make you useless. It's all right. It's not. I don't care. I mean, like, for me, I think one of the best content creators is Devin Tracy. Atheism is Unstoppable. I think every single one of his videos is funny. I think they have nice editing to them. I think he makes a lot of videos consistently. I think he's got one of the best voices on YouTube. But you know what my favorite part about Devin is that he's one of the only people that is on YouTube that is successful outside of YouTube. Think about it. His family with the African music and how famous his grandfather is and what they contributed. He was at the OJ trial. He's traveled the world. He lives in Germany. He went to Berkeley. He's an educated guy. He's in his 40s. He's been rich. He's been all over the world. He knows things about life. He brings that life experience and depth to his videos. He brings that to it. He doesn't need YouTube. Devin Tracy doesn't need YouTube. His family's rich. His family has accomplished things. He's an accomplished drummer. He's a very funny guy. He's basically a comedian. I think he's very funny. And you can hear that in it. There's a confidence with him. There's a bravura that a lot of YouTubers don't have, because the guy isn't just some person who was a nerd most of their life and then found fame on YouTube. And I like people like that. I like that Devin Tracy, and everyone hates him. Everyone likes to talk crap on him. I'm saying, man, this is a guy that's interesting even if he wasn't on here. This is a guy that has his life together even if he wasn't on here. He's set by Richard Dreyfuss at the damn trial, and I like those kind of people with life experience. Most YouTubers, I feel, just kind of copy stuff that's already been said by other people and then express it. There's not a lot of originality in the content or in the things said. I like people like that. I like people that have stuff going on outside of YouTube. I like people that are filmmakers and talk about making movies. I like people that have written things. I like people that have actually done things, that have had success in their life that wasn't just YouTube, that have had a successful business, had a successful life, are educated. A lot of YouTubers, I think, aren't that way, and I'm not knocking that because the platform's for anyone, but for me, I would like a little bit more. Colosso's crazy. Great editor. His family's rich. Dad owns a toy. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need money. He just does YouTube because he likes doing it. And he makes really good videos, and I like that kind of stuff. I like people that are interesting outside of the YouTube persona that they put on. I like people that seem to have actual talent. They're not just good at making online stuff that can go viral. They're very good at all sorts of things. I like a lot of those things. I think it's like Chris Ray Gunn. I think he's a really talented guy that could be so great if he just put more effort into his writing and doing stuff and jokes and all that stuff. I just don't feel that way with a lot of content creators. And I'm not saying I'm great or better than anyone. I'm not saying that. I just wish there was more of a, like everyone on Screen Junkies being a normie, everyone on Collider being a normie, everyone on all these outlets just not being anyone really worth it. It's very telling on movie fights whenever Max Landis or Kevin Smith or those people would come in and just dominate, or Seth Rogen, or be funnier, because they're writers and they're successful and they have stuff to say. These other people, they're just a bunch of people that if they weren't doing this, you wouldn't know who the hell they are. They'd have nothing going on. They're failed artists. They're like an English professor. There's some failed writer artist who wants to feel cool by having other people validate any kind of opinion they have that they're pushing on you. And that's not my bag. I'm not into that. Is Lawrence Southern really banned from England? I don't know. That's why you're sub to, right? Sub to who? God is love. If he doesn't believe in God, he believes in love. I believe in love. Love. My most popular video has 1K views, which is a lot for me. Well, hey, good for you, man. You got to start somewhere. No, I don't think Max Landis will be working in general. John Campea is a great example of the normie syndrome. You are absolutely right, my friend. I agree with you. It's just, it's just what it is. People don't like to say controversial things. They don't like to say challenging things. I don't blame them. You want to hit as broad of an audience as you possibly can. It's not financially suitable to try to play within niche audiences. It just isn't. And it's good to steal from other people and follow the patterns. I'm not going to knock that. That's what people can do. Yeah, whether or not you agree with their views on movies, they know the stuff when it comes to movies and make entertaining content outside of review. Are we talking about, Red Letter Media? Because I think Red Letter Media does that kind of stuff. I find them to be very talented. I think they're the only guys who really do transcend the film essay thing that everyone else does. All right, we're going for 2 hours and 20 minutes. This is longer. I wanted this to be a 90-minute episode, and it's almost 9 o'clock here, and it's almost done. All right, thank you for listening to this week's Box Office Addict. I know it was a dramatic one. I know it lacked some of the comedy that we typically have. I know it was a little too analytical and a little too serious. I'm sorry if this was a downer. I'll give you guys a quick Ben Shapiro because I didn't do my Blue Apron sponsorship. Okay, folks? All right? Okay? All right? Okay, folks? All right? All right? All of your videos are recommended in the video section. I know, folks. I know. They recommend my own videos to me. It's okay, people. It's great. It's great. It's absolutely great, folks. It's awesome. My wife's a doctor, and she talks about my YouTube videos to patients. And they get very excited. They're like, "Oh, that sounds great." He's just this Jew talking about economics and politics and like that, and he's selling mattresses and Blue Apron. It's really great, folks. All right, okay, folks. Had a great time. Yeah, I do love me some Red Letter Media. Yeah, I'm sorry. Welcome to the more serious Box Office Addict. There was a lot of funny comments for the day. There was a lot of comments of the week, but I can talk as fast as Ben Shapiro. I could probably even talk faster than Ben Shapiro if we're being fair. When I get really fast, I think I actually talk faster than him. He actually doesn't talk as fast as people make it out to be. He actually does pauses. If you actually listen to Ben, he'll pause. He'll be like, "You think that economic leverage is really good to me?" And then he'll pause. He'll be like, "All right, okay." He'll do pauses before he makes another statement. People don't pay attention to the pauses. His pauses are very important. He'll do this great. I love the pauses though. He'll do it great. He'll like kind of pause and wait like you're responding like it's Dora the Explorer, and it'll come in and the idea that you think that I don't understand, that's pretty ridiculous if you know what I mean. And then he'll go back. He's so funny. I should do a movie poster based on Zack Snyder movie pitch I made. Go ahead. Blue Apron, it's terrific. You get the meal in a box. You don't have to make the food. It's already pre-made there. It gives you instructions on how to make it. It's very easy. You feel like a chef, folks. You feel important. You feel like you're a gourmet chef. The food's better than food you would have bought and made anyway, folks. Okay, gang? You wouldn't have made food this good, all right? Okay? Martin Scorsese talks to us. Yes, he does. I think he is just breathing. I think the pauses are for breathing. I agree with you. He doesn't or ah. He just takes these pauses. He sits there and does a little pause. You could tell he took some public speaking classes and stuff like that. You can always tell. When you see the pause to get a breath, you move over and then you go back in. But it's awesome. My wife's son, she loves Blue Apron. It's great. It's great, gang. It's great. It's awesome. It's okay. It's really good, folks. It's a great deal. All right, people, if you listen to Box Office Addict, you're probably a box office addict yourself, and I'm not here to help you with your addictions. I'm here to encourage them. So like, comment, and subscribe. The story of the week, Black Panther, is the dominant film, and all the other films did okay, and that's actually pretty interesting. I'm a fast talker myself. When I get really ranty, it definitely... I try to talk a little bit slower for you guys on the show and stuff, or on the videos, because I find the fast talking to be a little much. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next Sunday, and I'll play out some shark fin music. This was an epic. This was a dramatic epic. This was my Godfather. And I'm hoping next week can be a more upbeat show. I hope I'm in a better mood, and I'm hoping that things come together. And I'm hoping I can make more videos for you guys, and I can do more. I can get that podcast out for you guys and all that. So I'm going to try to get over my hump myself and what crap I'm going through, and be a better content creator for all of you, because that's what you guys deserve. And I'm not doing it because you guys give me money. I'm not doing it because it makes me feel great about myself. I'm doing it because I like to make people laugh. I like to make people smile. And what is the greater gift in the world than giving people a little bit of a happiness, of the respite from the pain that is life and fear of death and just existence? What's better than giving people, than taking the burden of their pain for a little while and making the world just a little easier, even if it's just for 30 seconds to a minute. Nothing is a more fulfilling feeling to me, and that's what you guys do. You guys make me feel worth it, because it's worth it to make you guys feel good, and that's what it's about. It's about making you guys feel good, and it's about making, it's just about making the world a little happier every once in a while. We live in a cynical world. Tom Cruise said, Jerry Maguire, cynical world. But you guys complete me. And that's very true. All right. Good night, everyone. I love you. Always have. Always will.